welcome to the regular meeting of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors. This is, we're also meeting as all special taxing districts, and this is the April the 4th, 9 a.m. meeting. Board members can attend either in person or by conference call or electronic conferencing. I mean, everybody's here, so this is the call to order. The first item in the agenda will be the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask Supervisor Lyons to lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This was a little close.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Okay, well, the first item on the agenda is call to the public. And call to the public is held for the public's benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona revised statutes, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further discussion and a decision at a future date. Public comments may be made in person or submitted by email at publiccomment@yumacountyaz.gov. The email forms of public comments will be accepted until 8 a.m. on the morning of the meeting. All public comments will be read aloud during the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting that starts at 9 a.m. Do we have any emails, Desiree? I don't see any cards for people who want to talk. I mean, I see cards, but they're all for item 22-01. Is there anyone here that wants to address the board on an item that is not in the agenda? And I know that there's some people that will do that, but, you know, I'm talking about specific items that you would like to talk about. If not, then are you going to say something and call to the public, or we're going to move into presentations? Presentations, proclamations, and appointment. I will leave the call to the public item open to the public in case somebody shows up a little late or something. We need to address something that comes in a little later. The next item on the agenda is presentations, proclamations, and appointments. And during this segment of the agenda, board members may discuss presentations and proclamations and may announce appointments to the Yuma County Planning and Zoning Commission and the Yuma County Board of Adjustment. There will be no legal action. Are there any appointments to be made today by any of the board members? If not, we'll move on to County Administration, which is a presentation by Julie Angel, President Engel? Oh, it's okay, I always call her an angel, but President, I don't know which kind though, but I'll leave that. President and CEO of Yuma County Economic Development Corporation, and she will give a dreaded PowerPoint presentation. Julie, you look younger every time I see you. Oh, that's it.
I feel older every time I'm here. Okay. Chairman Reyes and members of the supervisors, it is always a privilege and honor to be here and share our information. Are we going to have it was emailed a couple of weeks ago by Stephanie Turner. Stephanie Crow? I do not have it on the thumb drive. I apologize. I did have it on the thumb drive and I left it at the city of San Luis. So I walked out without my thumb drive. So anyway, I can start without the presentation. What we're going to reveal today is our brand new marketing campaign look. We've updated our marketing materials. We've updated kind of the graphics that go with it. And from all the years of experience that we have taken the #1 questions that were asked by companies and site selectors of what their top priorities are. And we have identified those priorities in bullets on our marketing materials. So we have addressed about 15 of those priorities because it's 1, 2, and 3, but nobody has the same 1, 2, and 3. So that's why we've listed so many of these. Awesome, there it is, okay. Yes.
It's a PDF, so they'll have to forward it for you.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right. Next one, please. So this is what I was, the PDF kind of shifts everything too, so I apologize. So these are the things that we get asked inevitably in every site search. So the population is often misunderstood because we have an international border. So we aren't that different than a lot of mega metropolitan regions when you look at the drive time and transportation between this mega region, but we do have 1.8 million people in our mega region. And our MSA alone is 230,000. Our 3 international ports of entry are incredibly important, not only for raw materials, but also for labor. And we also are a much lower cost for doing business. And we are the only place in Arizona you can reach this 52 million consumers in a one-day truck haul legally. So we have a lot of advantages. Next slide, please. So the talent is a #1 concern right now for everybody. That's always in the top 3, no matter who's asking. It is, can you meet our workforce needs? And I have to say, I am so grateful to the county and all of our public agencies and our partners, the Arizona Commerce Authority, the Arizona Mexico Commission, the Greater Yuma Port Authority, and all 5 of our public agencies help fund a binational study because we have 2 mega projects that we're competing for. We had to be able to, without doubt, stand up 2,000 employees. And in order to do that, we needed to be able to convince them that this mega region is where we do pull from. Because if you're looking at a 230,000 MSA, it doesn't lend to that story that we can fill 2,000 positions for 2 different companies. So the study, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but the study will be presented at our quarterly luncheon on May 11th at 11:30, and you will all be getting invitations, of course, but May 11th, we will have Eric Lee Bedoya, who conducted the study, giving the presentation of this, and we've gotten the preliminary, and we're very excited about the results. The results demonstrate exactly what we knew. So here is where our workforce comes from. And our exiting Marines are actually getting pulled out of here because they are in such high demand. One of the things that they have that is very desirable and almost impossible to get is clearance. And so the fact that they already have this clearance makes them very attractive. So we're trying to capture more of our local Marines to stay in our workforce. And our manufacturing program, we were very nervous. We were thrilled to see Welton get this asset because we need our assets spread all over Yuma County. We were very concerned, though, that that drive might prohibit the number of people who enroll. They have 130 students enrolled. And that is just great, incredible. And so, we have showcased this manufacturing facility with 2 of the companies that we're looking at. We've also showcased it with Arizona MEP, the Manufacturing Executive Partnership, and they're blown away. So kudos to Arizona Western College in how they have created this wonderful asset. And I'm so grateful that it is successful because it needs to stay in East County because they need these assets just as bad as everyone else. Next slide, please. So our leading industry sector, the city of Yuma has commissioned a team to come in and kind of identify if we have missed anything in our leading industry sectors. We feel very strongly that this is where we have the talent, we can stand up the jobs, we also have the resources to support these industries, especially food processing with natural resources, abundant water, and raw inputs, which are very important. Aviation and defense testing. When we dig down into our Marine Corps Air Station in Yuma Proving Ground, the NAICS codes that would come up if they weren't using government codes, the NAICS codes demonstrate we have a huge sector already in this space. And we are becoming more and more attractive. And there's 2 reasons for that. You have an area in Arizona that has a lot of our prime contractors like Lockheed, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, and they are at capacity. There's no more airspace, there's no more runway space, there's no more labor. And so we are now finally that tertiary market they're really looking hard at. So we're partnering with our friends at the airport, and we are putting together some impressive presentations to try and get some of these. And these aren't necessarily the primes. These are the subs who are working for these primes. And even better, even better. So next slide, please. So these are the projects that are active right now. Some of them have already landed, so I can talk about them. Somerton Project Rings is a manufacturer that came from Tijuana. They're based out of San Diego, but their operations were in Tijuana, and they built or bought a building and renovated it, and they are now at 60 employees, and they make the humongous steel rings for fishing nets, for commercial fishing. And so it's a very niche market. And then Labrie, they're building, we have so many projects that want their building. Labrie has built this building, and in the time that they were building the building, they were bought by someone else, and they are going to stay in their existing facility. So now we have an asset. That's why we have this here, because we have several projects that want that building. And as soon as it is done, we will have someone in there.
Where's it at?
It is at the port, the commercial port of entry.
Okay.
Yes, it is almost directly, well, no, it's not directly, but it is across and to the east of Mario's building.
Okay,
I'm
I know
sorry,
where that is.
I probably shouldn't be saying first names, but I think Spindle Cooling. Okay, Spindle Cooling. And then another thing that we're really proud of is these projects span the entire county. They're everywhere. And so I keep holding this, I don't need to. Next slide, please. Oh, excuse me, can you go back just a second? I apologize. So over here is the job creation, the CapEx, the industrial space, and the new payroll. And that is a culmination of all these projects together. So that's what we anticipate ending this fiscal year with. Next slide, please. So business retention, I'm very proud of this collaboration here on the left. This was between Mexicali and San Luis Sonora and Greater Yuma EDC and Arizona Western College and our friends at Yuma Private Industry Council, which is Arizona at Work. And we created this job landing page. And the reason being is when we do our BREs, we find out there's a lot of positions that are hard to fill in this area, very hard to fill. And everyone is experiencing the same thing. And it's this kind of niche positions. They're usually engineers. And so we know we have engineers across the border. So we've had companies post their jobs on this website, and you have the ability to say, this person needs to be able to work in the US now, or you can sponsor a visa, whatever you want to do. You can say that in your posting. We have already placed 4 engineers into our manufacturing companies through this website. And the thing that I also want to call out is this is not competing with jobs in Yuma, because we don't have the people to fill those jobs. So it's not like we're not exhausting all resources here before they go there. Another win was some teachers were hired through this program as well, which has been, and this was not a public school, this was a private school, but they were struggling to get teachers, and they have been able to place some teachers. So we see this website as being as a matter of fact, when I was in DC last week, and I was with Raytheon and Boeing and Northrop Grumman, and 2 of their primes were with us as well. And so I led them to this, and they're willing to sponsor the visas. So they are going to try and find some of the talent they can't get up there on this website as well.
All right.
So, and then that is the Pro Day and Arizona at Work. And then our Arizona Western College and SBDC, we're working in tandem, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. So I'm going to jump ahead. Go ahead to the next slide. These grants are what I want to spend some time on, and I hope that's okay. So awarded to date, we have $703,000 that has been awarded to Yuma County. We did the multifamily housing study. We did the Spaceport feasibility study. We did phase 2. We're having our report out of phase 2 this week. And our ESP grant through the ACA that went to the Port, Greater Yuma Port Authority, and our binational workforce study that you all helped fund. So one of the grants that's not listed up there is the Build Back, or not Build Back Better, excuse me. It's not, it is there, but is the Good Jobs Challenge for phase 3 of the Yuma Multiversity. And that is a $2.8 million grant application that was submitted. And our Amber Sheck from GYDC was the grant writer on that. And we should be knowing if that's going to happen, but we did get money in the national budget through Senator Kelly for the multiversity. So if we don't get this grant, the multiversity is still going to have some funds behind it. Another, the Build Back Better is the one I wanted to talk about. We have partnered with Tucson to form this mega region. And we submitted our grant and we were awarded $500,000. Out of that $500,000, that allowed us to get to the next level of applications. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit. But out of that first $500,000, we were able to fund a portion of the feasibility for the Avenue D corridor project that Yuma County, my good friend and a colleague, is working on very closely. And I guess I'm nervous because where is he? Thank you, Armando. Oh my God, Alejandro, sorry, I just went blank. I must be nervous. So Alejandro is very diligently trying to get this Avenue D corridor done, and we were able to use some of that $500,000 for feasibility. We were able to get the city of Yuma some feasibility funding on a corridor they're trying to create for industrial development. And so very excited, but the Build Back Better, we submitted our application. It came to $47 million. 37 million of that is EDA funding. There are 6 components plus the 7th, which is governance, that is being funded out of this. Yuma County has funds in every single one of those components. So I'm going to talk about the broadband grant that is going to fund towers for our agriculture. This is going to reach the areas that can't be reached even by the middle mile, but are necessary for what this whole grant application was, which is adaptability to climate change and agriculture and growing more with less resources. And so the broadband grant was 10 million, 8 million is EDA. That's all coming to Yuma if we're successful. Stealth stands for, I'm not even going to go into it, but Stealth is the workforce portion of this grant, and it was $5 million. EDA is funding $4 million, and that is split between Arizona Western College and Pima Community College. So there's $5 million there. SAFER is our revolving loan fund, our venture capital, and our startup funds. And that is $3 million. EDA is funding $2.5 million. All of that's coming here because we do not have a revolving loan fund, and we will be able to set that up. And then Sustain, which is startups, venture startups for food industry. Sustain is $4.5 million. EDA is funding $3.6. And we will have, out of that, carved immediately for us is $250,000 for the Yuma Food Impact Center. We are trying to create, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit too. And then FFAH is the Future Farming Hub. That is $6,900,000 and $5,500,000 is EDA funds, and the Center of Excellence, Arizona Center of Excellence, is a partner on that. Oh, cool. So of this $37 million, more than half is coming to Yuma County if we're successful. We have
people are applying for it.
I think there were 60 there were over 1,500 applications, and 66 I think were chosen. So we're in that 66. And we have a meeting this week, which they're calling it a finalist meeting. So that's kind of good news too. They're still, we're still not certain. I'm never going to say it's certain until it's in writing. So we are excited going forward in that. And next slide. So I want to go right here to the Arizona Western College. When Governor Ducey was here, he talked about 6 centers of excellence he wanted to stand up across the state. 4 of those have already been identified because they have partnered with industry to create those. There are only 2 left, and there are 3 regions that are competing for it. I'd like to thank Supervisor Lines because he is already reaching out and trying to help us. We have had several meetings with Governor Ducey's staff. Mm-hmm. When he was here, Governor Ducey said that it was going to be here. So I would like to think that's going to happen. However, there is an application process, so we do have to compete for that. But this 306 or the 260,000 that is in this BBB is going to leverage with this Center of Excellence. And so there's a lot of money coming together that is leveraging and making these projects bigger and better and more sustainable. So I just wanted to share that. And then our partnership with Chicanos por la Casa. Chicanos por la Casa was incredibly successful during the PPP loan application. So they have some money that they want to invest in Yuma. So we're working with our Yuma Union High School District. We're working with Greater Yuma Port Authority. We're working with the City of Yuma and the Del Sol. And they're working with Arizona Western College. They're also going to be a gap financer on our revolving loan fund if we are successful in that. So we have a lot going on. And then last but certainly not least is our Spaceport. It is still active. It is still well. I was just a presenter at the Urban Land Institute's annual meeting in Phoenix. And I was really taken back by how many people knew about our Spaceport. And I know our governor is working on this issue as well, because we do have some gap funding we need for our FAA application. When we were in DC, it came up again, because we were just there last week for the Yuma 50. All of our Arizona Defense coalitions went together and met with everybody. All of our representatives, and the Spaceport is very needed. So we're hopeful that we can cross the finish line on that. So this concludes my presentation for this morning, and I apologize. I always vomit so much information on you, and I know it's really hard to absorb it all.
I wouldn't call it vomit.
Well,
I have to take back what I said earlier.
What's that?
If you do that, that you look younger every time.
Oh.
If you vomit, that would negate everything. So just keep it together.
I am here for your questions.
Do you guys have any questions? That was a pretty thorough presentation.
Well, thank you for all you're doing.
Yes, it's our pleasure. It's our privilege. It really is. And I need to, really quick, I apologize, but I need to say thank you to all of you, Susan and Alejandro, and all of our ED partners, because the more we work together, the stronger we are. And we are definitely working together. So Forefront ED is right there with us too.
Well, thank you very much, Julie.
Thank you,
I
Julie.
appreciate it. I think that most people think that economic development is an overnight thing, and I know it isn't. It takes years to put things together, and for them to come together at a specific time, it's just a credit to the time and patience you guys have put into it. I know you've been working at it for a while. I'm not going to admit how many years we've been working at it, but I know it's work, and it's tedious work, and it's work that has to be done every year. So congratulations on everything you guys have accomplished so far.
Thank you, Julie.
All right, thank you. And the next item in the agenda is going to be a bunch of proclamations. We'll begin with proclamation calling National County Government Month, and this will be done by Supervisor Porches.
Proclaiming the month of April 2022 as National County Government Month, counties thrive. Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties, parishes, and boroughs serving more than 350 million Americans provide essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. And whereas counties provide public health services, administer justice, keep communities safe, foster economic opportunities, and much more. And whereas Yuma County and all counties take pride in our responsibilities to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of our residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. And whereas under the leadership of the National Association of Counties, President Gary Moore, NACO is demonstrating how counties thrive, especially in supporting residents and businesses during the coronavirus pandemic. And whereas each year since 1991, the National Association of Counties has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibilities, programs, and services. And whereas all county officials, employees, schools, and residents are encouraged to participate in government celebration activities. Now, therefore, Yuma County proclaims the month of April 2022 as the National County Government Month.
All right, thank you very much, Supervisor Porches. And that is a resolution that we'll probably send to the National Association of Counties, so there'll be nobody here to pick it up, but it's part of our I think we're one of those states where every county is a member of the association. So it's just part of that process where we do that. But we do have a local proclamation, and that would be Yuma County Government Appreciation Month, and that would be read by Supervisor Simmons. I think it's one of the two. I think no.
Got health and work zone.
Nope, it's him.
Oh, it's you? Did I give?
I have Employment Appreciation Month.
I keep telling everybody there's something here. Check out the other one. One is health, and the other one is.
So government appreciation is employee appreciation?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh well, then.
Just
I
confirm,
am
just confirmed
corrected.
by our, yeah, by our
I
manager.
stand corrected.
All right, so do I. Proclaiming the month of April 2022 as Yuma County Government Employee Appreciation Month. Yuma County and its employees play essential roles in keeping our community safe and secure by preserving public health and well-being, ensuring public safety, and promoting local economies, while providing professional and dedicated public services. And Yuma County and its employees take their roles seriously in protecting and enhancing the wealth, the health, welfare, and safety of citizens in our community, and to delivering effective quality services while containing costs through efficient use of local tax dollars. And Yuma County is one of 15 counties in the state of Arizona responsible for serving the needs of every resident. Yuma County reflects the wide diversity of people, culture, and landscape in our state. With Yuma County employees having a reputation for quality and excellence, and the Yuma County Board of Supervisors appreciates and acknowledges our employees who demonstrate integrity, commitment, and dedicated service each and every day on behalf of our community. And now, therefore, Yuma County proclaims the month of April 2022 as Yuma County Government Employee Appreciation Month.
You forgot to put employee there. But I should have known when it says Felicia Frausto, Jessica Rodriguez, and Oscar Chavez will be around to pick up their. I should have known better. All right. That is the proclamation. We're going to go down. Do you want to say a few words before? Yeah. Hold on, Supervisor Lyons. We got a speaker now.
Look at your green. I love your green.
Thank you. So good morning, Chairman Reyes, members of the board. As Employer Appreciation Month, there are so many different activities that members of my staff would like to share with you of what we're going to do to partake with employer appreciation. As you can tell, we all have on some type of Kelly green, emerald green. Is really to highlight the buildings that are going to be lit up every evening that promotes gratitude and appreciation. So with that, I don't want to take too much away from Oscar Chavez. I'll give it over to Oscar.
Good morning, Chairman Reyes, members of the board. Oscar Chavez III, Employee Relations Specialist, Human Resources. I'm happy to be here today to accept the Employee Appreciation Month proclamation on behalf of the county, and I just wanted to briefly go over what the happenings are for the month of April. So the historic Yuma County Courthouse, 198, 197 Main Street locations, adult probation building, and the main branch of the Yuma Main Library will be lit up in green during the month of April to honor Yuma County Government Employee Appreciation Month. So the color green was chosen this year to express prosperity, progress, growth, togetherness, and teamwork, strength, and optimism for all county employees. Also, during this meeting today, we'll be recognizing employees for their years of service, for years in increments of 5, all the way up to 45. We have 145 this year, so that's really amazing. Years of service served with Yuma County and Superior Court. All Yuma County employees and Superior Court employees have been invited to tune in today on Channel 77 to show support for those employees that are being recognized today. Human Resources has coordinated with all the departments and offices to pick up certificates and special recognition awards today from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Human Resources. We'll also be providing cookie platters to be shared for members of the staff of each department and office in recognition of Employee Appreciation Month. I also want to say that the cookie platters are not just, put them in your kitchen and everyone grab them, but our intentions by providing those is to, give agency heads and elected officials a cause to group together to show recognition. So, I really promote and suggest to and recommend to all department heads and agency heads and elected officials to use those cookie platters as an opportunity to group together and show recognition. So pour a cup of coffee and enjoy. Friday, April 15th, 2022, we're excited to be hosting our annual Employee Appreciation Movie Night. We'll be showing Disney's Encanto. I believe it won an Oscar too. So, a pop above popcorn and ice cream, as well as shaved ice from the business. Snow on the go will be provided. We'll also have jumpers for kids to enjoy. This event will be hosted at the main library on April 15th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The movie starts at 7 p.m., but the event is open at 6 p.m. Human Resources would like to thank Lisa Mendez, the library district director, and her incredible staff for always allowing us to host our events at the library. So we hope to see all of you there and your family members. On Monday, April 18th, at this Board of Supervisors meeting, we'll have nominees for Yuma County and Superior Court Employee of the Year, as well as the nominees for Safety Excellence of the Year for 2021. Those nominees will be present to be recognized for their nomination, as well as the winners will be announced that day as well. And then to end, I just want to thank the board members today for your role in assisting me with grouping the Merit Award board members together. I appreciate your prompt response and assistance in that matter. We are able to meet and render decisions on those selections for this year. So thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions?
I had one, but I forgot it. It's okay. I think you did a great presentation, Oscar. Are you guys? Yeah, I know. I can see.
So
the line,
thank you very
can
much.
see the line.
I wanted to invite other members of my staff. I have Carla Vasquez right here next.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Carla Vasquez. I am a benefit specialist with Yuma County Human Resources, and today with me I have Alejandra Jimenez, benefits representative. Here on our division in benefits, we're also promoting always health and wellness, and appreciation is definitely part of it. Not only is it important to say it verbally, but it makes a huge impact to actually write it down when somebody goes out of their way to assist you. All of us in the departments work together on an everyday basis, and we don't always take the time to actually write it down when somebody from a different department picks up that phone and assists you the way that you need and goes above and beyond. So for this month, starting today, all Yuma County employees and court employees will be receiving an email from their employee health team committee members encouraging to show gratitude this month with what we called gratitude grams. So we are encouraging all employees to participate and take that time to write down a gratitude gram to anyone in their own department or a different one to just say thank you. Thank you for being amazing. Thank you for going out of your way. And like we said, not only does it help whoever's receiving it, but the person writing it down is really good for us. So starting today until April 29th, employees are able to drop this off at a gratitude bag that will be located in their department or office. And then at the end, Human Resources will be receiving them all and making sure that every single employee receives the gratitude grams that they gathered. So we want to encourage everyone to participate. And then today, to show gratitude to you guys, the Board of Supervisors, and everything you do, we have Alejandra with our fun green pens. Isn't it cute? You will make someone smile.
This may not be as cute.
Just by taking your notes in it, you'll make somebody smile with our furry pens.
I need it more than everybody.
Yes. They're so cute. This is part of our
Look at me,
wellness
Dad.
program
It's your own.
that we encourage. Do you guys have any questions for us?
I want to know who the model was. Because it wasn't me. Anyway, thank you very much.
So cute.
Thank
you guys for your time.
So that was her job, just carrying the pins around with the blue, with the green stuff. Yeah.
Next, we have Nayeli, who's ready to present about what she's doing.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm Nayeli Flores, Human Resources Training Specialist. In the month of April, I'm incorporating trainings to coordinate with Employee Appreciation Month. I'll offer courses on how to inspire your employees and ways to praise and recognize your employees. In the month of April, I will also be partnering with the benefits team on their project for gratitude grams. I will send all employees a personal gratitude gram to demonstrate appreciation and gratitude for their time and their efforts in pursuing their professional development.
That's it? That was short. All right, well. No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I do want to, it's not a question, it's just more a statement. I've always pointed to the Human Resources Department as the morale booster kind of people. And obviously, this morning you guys are doing a really good job of trying to meet that objective. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else? Or we just getting the let's proclamation. Okay, let's get step down, Supervisor Lines, and we'll finally get the proclamation in their hand. There'll probably be a speech after that, but.
Okay, come on, guys. All of you guys, come up. You too.
This is a nervous moment. Back up a little bit.
Come on in. Scoot right in.
Anytime you get to have Supervisor Forces and the other side you want, it is a.
1, 2, 3. Give me 1 second, please. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Too late, man.
Your face is
You've grown a lot since I met you. Is that the new password? It's a temporary. All right, I tried it. Didn't work, but I'll try it again. All right, I think the next one is a proclamation proclaiming April 2022 as Fair Housing Month in Yuma County. And because I am so involved in housing and affordable housing, I will read this proclamation myself. Proclamation says, proclamation proclaiming the month of April 2022 as Fair Housing Month, whereas April 2022 marks the 54th anniversary of the National Fair Housing Act, which emphasizes a national policy of fair housing, and whereas this act, under Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, affirms the right of all citizens to equal housing opportunities free from discrimination based on race, color, religion, national origin, sex, disability, or familial status. And whereas implementation of the fair housing policy of Yuma County requires positive commitment, involvement, and support from each and every one of our citizens, and whereas the Board of Supervisors wishes to create equal housing opportunities for all persons living, working, traveling through, or doing business in Yuma County, and whereas Fair Housing Month is a time set aside each year to remind citizens that we not only have the right to own and rent property, but we also have an individual responsibility to guard that right from any infringement. Now, therefore, I, Marco A. Tony Reyes, Chairman of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors, hereby proclaims the month of April 2022 to be Fair Housing Month, and I've set the seal and signed it. So,
good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Diana Veloz with County Administration. The Fair Housing Act of 1968 prevents discrimination, housing discrimination, and it's our responsibility to try and educate the public about this housing discrimination and what their rights are. And we are having an event April 28th. It's going to be a virtual symposium where we're going to be able to invite the public, different agencies, the realtors, landlords, to discuss what the fair housing laws are and what the public can do to protect themselves against any kind of discrimination. So it's still being finalized, but it's right now we have April 28th from 8:30 to 12:30, and it's going to be virtual. And we also have a Spanish one, May 12th from 8:30 to 12:30, and it's also going to be virtual, and it will be sent to everybody on the board, just so you could be aware that that's happening.
okay. So would you wait and we hand this over to you? Is it Diana, Veronica, and Maria de los Reyes? All right.
Come on.
You cut in between. Now you get the whole.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was visiting.
Squeeze in. It's okay if you read the edges.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. The next item in the agenda is a proclamation proclaiming the week of April 3 to the 9th as Library Week in Yuma County, and this will be done by Lynn, Supervisor Prankers.
Good morning, everyone. Library Week in Yuma County. Whereas libraries connect people to technology, provide access to broadband internet, computers, and training that are critical for assessing education and employment opportunities. And whereas today's libraries and their services extend far beyond the four walls of a building, and everyone is welcome to use their resources. And whereas today's libraries and their services extend far beyond, oh, I did that, sorry. Whereas in times of crisis, libraries and library professionals play an invaluable role in supporting their communities, both in person and virtually. And whereas libraries strive to develop and maintain programs and collections that are as diverse as the populations they serve and ensure equity to access for all. And whereas to adapt to our changing world, libraries are expanding their resources and continuing to meet the needs of their patrons. During this week, I encourage all residents to connect with their library by visiting online or in person to access resources and services. Now, therefore, the Yuma County Board of Supervisors proclaimed the week of April 3rd through 9th, 2022 to be National Library Week in Yuma County. Whew.
And you know what? Yeah, that's great. And we have Sarah Wisdom.
Yes, we do.
Who has the best name available that we could ever find to be in the
Even in person.
She's got I keep losing my library card, so she's got one that I won't be able to lose.
I just want to say thank you very much. You're always so supportive, and we appreciate that. And we are looking forward to bringing back our in-person summer reading program this year, in-person programming, and we're just happy to welcome everybody back. Thank you.
All right, hold on. We're going to give you the proclamation.
For those that don't know, they have a program where you can listen to audiobooks in your cars, sign up for them, and they're free.
In the middle.
Yes, and here's the
card. Here's
Thank you.
I'll take the card.
Okay. Don't lose it.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Wisdom to my left.
Nice to see you in person for a change.
Yes, we see you on the screen.
You look bigger in the street.
Taller. You look taller. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we wish we could say the check's in the mail, but. Where's the IT guy? No, the IT guy. Right, so the next one, and we have a lot of proclamations this week, it's where the chairman, well, not the chairman, I think Supervisor Simmons will again proclaim the week of April 4 to 10, 2022 as Public Health Week in Yuma County. Supervisor Simmons, you have that one, right?
Yes. In proclaiming the week of April 4th through the 10th, 2022 as Yuma County Public Health Week. Whereas the week of April 4th to the 10th, 2022 is National Public Health Week, and the theme is Public Health is Where You Are. Whereas public health professionals help communities prevent, prepare for, withstanding, and recover from the impact of a full range of health threats, including disease outbreaks such as the COVID-19 pandemic, natural disasters, and disasters caused by human activity. Whereas public health action, together with scientific and technological advances, has played a major role in reducing and, in some cases, eliminating the spread of infectious disease and in establishing today's disease surveillance and control systems. And whereas now more than ever, it is important to understand the value of public health and to continue building strong public health systems for sustaining and improving community health. Now therefore, Yuma County proclaims the week of April 4th through the 10th, 2022 to be Public Health Week.
And to receive the proclamation is our esteemed Public Health Director, Diana Gomez. And
members of the board, Diana Gomez, Director of Public Health, and Kathy Ward, Director of Nursing. Thank you very much for your ongoing support. Again, most people are familiar from us coming up here and giving the updates. So we're also looking forward to expanding a lot of the programming that we had to scale back a little bit while we responded to the pandemic. And we're very grateful for your support, very grateful for all our community partners that made it happen. When you see public health, we have the public health entity. We are the public health entity, but everything we've done so far to protect our community is made possible thanks to our amazing staff, your support, and again, all our community partners that have come together when the time came. And I wanted to bring Kathy up here because she's getting recognized for years of service. It's 30 years. So, yeah. So.
She said it when she was 10, I know. She told me.
It goes by really fast, right, Kathy?
Yes.
So.
Okay, well, let's get down there and give him the proclamation. And at least she's going to take something back today.
You guys get in the middle. Okay, I'll get on the other side. Yeah. Go. Holding it right there.
This is a little squeezy.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you
Oh,
so
okay.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's the best for that.
Go
ahead, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Don't you leave now. You gotta report 2 hours later. And last but not least, again, Supervisor Simmons will give us a proclamation proclaiming the week of April 11 to 15, 2022 as Work Zone Awareness Week in Yuma County.
Okay, proclaiming the week of April 11th through the 15th, 2022 as Work Zone Awareness Week in Yuma County. Whereas highway construction work and repairs to roadways must be done while they are open to traffic, putting both motorists and workers at risk every day. And whereas workers diligently continue to improve, rebuild, and maintain roadways so that motorists can safely and efficiently travel. And whereas accidents can be prevented by setting aside distractions, using extra caution, reducing speed, and giving a work zone undivided attention when motoring. And whereas Yuma County is dedicated to ensuring the safety in work zones for workers, motorists, passengers, bicyclists, and pedestrians. And whereas more than 40,000 people are injured and 1,000 are killed each year as a result of motor vehicle crashes in work zones. And whereas National Work Zone Awareness Week was established in 1999 by the Federal Highway Administration to emphasize the importance of safety issues in work zones across the United States. And whereas Yuma County urges all motorists to continue to recognize the responsibility that comes with driving a motor vehicle and the importance of maintaining safe and smart driving habits in designated work zones and at all times when operating a motor vehicle. Now therefore, Yuma County proclaims the week of April 11th through the 15th, 2022 to be National Work Zone Awareness Week in Yuma County.
Got it.
Chairman Reyes, members of the board, my name is Kelly Fricky, and I'm Deputy Public Works Director.
You're not Josh, God?
Pardon me?
You're not Josh?
Our Work Zone Awareness Committee has worked very diligently in getting ready for this week, and I'd like to invite Joe Escalante. He's the lead of the committee to come up and explain some of the events that they have planned.
All right.
Joe Escalante.
We also come bearing gifts.
All right.
Doesn't look like a loader or.
Where do I know you from?
Is it glasses to see the workers? Thank you. It's a glasses, so you should.
You can read it whenever you have time.
A hat. No.
There's my green.
It's a green thing.
Just some statistics that.
Ooh.
put out when for work zones. And you guys have some free time to read them. Like Kelly said, my name is Joe Escalante, Public Works. I'm my official title is assigned technician. I also brought along my partner here, Billy Pfizer. Like Chairman Simmons said, you know, there's the work zones are a thing for safety for workers and also the public. And Work Zone Awareness Week is just to bring more awareness to the public and also the safety of the workers in there. The event runs April 11th to the 15th. There's a list of things that we plan on doing for the week. One day is we have radio spots with local radio stations where we'll be going out and doing PSAs. Also, we're going to be doing some in-house training. In your bags were orange shirts. Wednesday is Orange Day, and that's the day where we ask everybody to wear orange to bring awareness to the work zone awareness. And that day also we'll be having some stuff over at the Public Works Yard. We'll be doing some in-house training. We also, this year is the first year since last year was COVID. We really didn't do much. We did it, kind of kept it in-house, but we tried to get all the municipalities within the county involved. And we were fortunate enough to get Yuma Fire Department, Rural Metro, one of the traffic control companies to come out. So what we're going to do is set up a mock work zone on Wednesday. And we also have a towing company, local towing company coming out, and he's going to bring some cars. And fire departments are going to do some simulations as far as the jaws of life and stuff like that. And hopefully we'll get some good media coverage, and the media will put that out on the news. And also we'll get Mr. Kevin Tennell to help us out with social media on that. And then
Crash him.
yeah, and then Friday we usually do a luncheon for the Public Works employees, and also that's the day we do a moment of silence in the morning. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Is Wednesday going to be open to the public or not?
Wednesday, we kind of we've announced it. Like I said, we work with some of the municipalities. You guys are more than welcome to come out. What time are we starting? 7, Billy? 7 a.m. Yeah.
That's a week from Wednesday.
Yeah, the week from this Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we also
I'll
have.
give you the proclamation in our green gear.
Oh, guess we got to wear hats.
Hold on, guys. I'm writing it down. Uh-huh. In our green hats. You got it.
Oh, in the middle. No.
Oh, no, you guys get in here. We're on the
Oh,
other
this is
side.
good. I got nothing on that side.
Hey, cheese. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You guys did a great job. Hey, I'm not gonna go through there. Waiting for my time.
Congratulations.
Good to see you. My hair messed up. I think there's something orange in there. It looked like a pumpkin.
You could wear this, honey.
I know I'll be shot.
What?
All right, I think that gets the proclamations section done. So we move on to the consent calendar. In this, items under the consent calendar will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless a board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. It's items 1 through, let me just see the last page here, 1 through 12. Is there anything that anybody wants to pull out?
No, Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion we accept items as presented 1 through 12.
I'll second it.
It'd be 1 through 12. The Sheriff Department gentleman is here for the remainder, or is he here for your item here? All right, thank you very much. So there be no discussion. All those in favor of the consent calendar signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to move an item Before we take on the housing and items and then we take on the other items, we will move the health department. Do you want to do your report now or do you want to wait until? Okay, all right. Well, then I'll move discussion and action item number 1 up in the agenda so we can get her to give a report. I don't know if you're staying for the ceremony, but just in case, you can leave at any time after that.
Excellent, thank you. Morning, Chairman Reyes, members of the board, Diana Gomez, Director of Public Health. Again, good news, our numbers continue to trend downward. Our positivity rate, when you're looking at the PCR tests, those are swab tests that are coming back from the lab, we're trending at 2% positivity, so that's good. Overall, when you look at our community level of transmission, it is now low, and it's been low for the last 2 weeks. That was very welcomed news. About 80% of our population that's eligible to be vaccinated has been vaccinated. As many of you heard, the COVID-19 vaccine booster was approved for those individuals that are immunocompromised or over the age of 50. So again, we're doing those boosters. We've seen an uptick in people visiting our department. We continue to have those clinics in-house. People are welcome to visit our facility. And they are welcome to also reach out to the pharmacy and our different providers. But we have seen an increase. And again, we know that, yes, that would be the 4th dose. That would be a second type of booster for people that are immunocompromised. We're asking for self-attestation, so we're not requiring any paperwork. If you come in and tell us you're immunocompromised, we will move forward. Wastewater surveillance, again, is another tool that we're using. That those levels have been low as well. As you know, wastewater gives us about a 2-week head notice as far as how those levels are trending. We're starting to see a slight uptick. Again, we expect that. We're going to be seeing those trends come and go as we move forward. This is something that's going to become endemic. It's something that we're going to learn to live with. But the wastewater surveillance link is, last time I was here, I offered to check. Kevin went ahead and linked it to our website. So for people that want to know what the genome sequencing looks like or the prevalence of that, you can click. It's on the main page on the header of the Yuma County website. And right now what we're seeing is we continue to see Omicron. We're seeing the second subvariant, which is the BA.2. Which is what we had called a stealth variant when it first appeared. And again, it's another subvariant of the Omicron, which is what we continue to see as the prevalent strain right now in our community. So again, the public health emergency declaration was ended last Wednesday, and with that, there's some things that changed. Hospitals are no longer required to report some of the metrics like the hospitalization numbers, inpatient beds being used. Those are important metrics, so hopefully you don't have to report them anymore, but hopefully people still continue to report it. It's a good surveillance tool for us to figure out when we need to provide that extra help. The surge line, again, we expect that will end as well. The surge line was an incredible tool for us, particularly those of us in rural locations. It allowed for the transfers of COVID patients to other hospitals, so no one hospital system was overwhelmed. So again, looking at those metrics, and at the end of the day, the message is, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Our messaging continues to be consistent from the beginning. We want to make sure that people have the information that they need to make the best choices for their families, to avoid any disruptions to their businesses. So again, adapting a lot of the basic hygiene, cleaning, making sure that we stay home when we're sick, that we're vaccinated, boosted, and that we pay attention to those community indicators. And when there's levels of higher transmission, take those precautions that you need to take so that you can continue to enjoy those activities and do them safely. So any questions?
On the clinics that you have outside the health department or even in the health department, other vaccines are being offered, correct?
Yes. So we're taking this opportunity to take, we're doing our regular COVID clinic, but we're also providing those other vaccines that sometimes people don't have access to. So we have flu vaccine, we're doing hepatitis, we're doing a variety of other vaccines. And so again, we continue to go to the outlying areas, and a lot of those other vaccines are work-related vaccines or school-related vaccines that sometimes people have trouble having during the 8 to 5 period. So we're consistently making an effort to go out to different places in the community to make sure that, as well as those COVID vaccines, those other vaccines are available to our community.
Testing. I know testing becomes an issue when things just sort of ramp up, and obviously but testing is available throughout in many places.
Yeah, testing continues to be available like anything else. You see those peaks and then those demands, and then you see it just kind of nobody shows up. Want to remind people that you still have the ability to get those rapid tests through the federal government for free, 2 per household. There's also an insurance where the insurance company covers part of the expense for those. We're also working to procure some additional, we continue to distribute those rapid tests to our community partners, and we're going to continue to do that for as long as we can to make sure that those are available, particularly in the outlying areas.
Any questions, comments? Thank you. You guys are doing a great job, and it's tough to highlight it when there isn't a crisis, but that's also a good sign.
Yep.
Maybe it'll be a better sign when we stop asking you to come over, right? But for a little while there, I think we'll continue to do this.
Yeah, jinxed it. I'll just sit in the back. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
All right, I'm going to go back and actually recess the Yuma County Board of Supervisors and convene as the Yuma County Housing Board. We'll have just one discussion calendar. The board will open the items separately for discussion, but there's only one. So I will conduct a public hearing to allow the public to comment the Yuma County Housing Department Public Housing Agency Annual Plan, FSS Action Plan, Section 8 Administrative Plan, and ACOP. Any comments received at the public hearing will be attached to the Public Housing Annual Plan. I think sometime in February we approved the plans, but the requirement is that HUD wants you to have a public hearing. The Housing Director, Mr. Roldan, is here, Jesus Roldan. Is there anything that you want us to say before we open it up?
No, it's just something that we have to do every year.
Right, it's a process. We have to do that. So let me just open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the public that'd like to make a comment on the plan or anything? Again, we have to follow this procedure. It's a HUD requirement for the plan to be official. It needs to go through a public hearing. We didn't get any comments on the internet or any comments by phone, so I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back to the board. Is there anything that we need to do for this item? All we have to do is conduct a public hearing. We conducted it, it's closed. We don't need to make a motion. It's already been done. So that takes care of this item. Thank you, Mr. Roldan. I know you waited a long time for a very short situation, but well, I'm gonna adjourn the Yuma County Housing. Well, before you leave, just so in case, is there a process to replace a member of the board that isn't here?
She'll be approved tomorrow by the residents. So next meeting that we have, we'll be presenting it to you.
Yeah, it's just a question. I know that the attorneys kind of wins every time I say that, but it's just a question. All right. We're moving on. I'm going to go back into a regular session of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors and go into a special discussion and action item, which is the 2021 Employee Recognition Ceremony. A video will be shown, and then we'll recognize Yuma County employees. And there's one special one that
Welcome to this special edition of the County Line, where we'll be introducing the nominees for the 2021 Court Employee of the Year, County Employee of the Year, and the Safety Excellence Award winner. This year, 6 county employees and 3 court employees stood out among their peers and have been nominated for the 2021 Yuma County and Court Employee of the Year. We'll start with the 6 county nominees. Elma Mendoza works for the Library District as a circulation supervisor. She took the lead in developing procedures including sanitation, providing e-cards, and facilitating curbside service to safely provide services during the pandemic.
She's always looking for new ways to improve processes, and she listens and communicates well with everyone.
she's a great team member and leader. She works with integrity, which is very inspiring to a lot of us.
Alma was important in the library becoming fine-free to eliminate barriers for low-income families. She also helps to plan food drives throughout the library system. Alma leads with positivity and transparency and makes her worthy of Employee of the Year. Jason Jard is a Civil Engineer 3. He took the initiative to create a transition plan to ensure the county is fully compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act regulations.
He's helped us with the county standard specifications and details. He's now tackling ADA training throughout the county.
He developed an ADA training class and trained many county employees, external agencies, and organizations. He also played a key role in major flood control projects.
He's put out close to 5 or 6 engineering and flood control projects out for construction. So he's one of the reasons why our inspectors are so busy right now.
Jason epitomizes the phrase, going the extra mile. And that is why Jason Jard is a nominee for the County Employee of the Year. Carla Vasquez works in the Human Resources Department as a benefits specialist. During the pandemic, she took the initiative to plan, organize, and implement virtual wellness programs and virtual health benefit fairs, including an innovative scavenger hunt.
She implemented activities for employees and really highlighted mental health in the time when it was needed most.
She's really wanting to help everyone, both mind, body, and soul, so that this way we can have an employee that not just has great health, but they have great mental health as well.
Her efforts were recognized when the Human Resources Department was awarded the Platinum Healthy Worksite Program. Her passion for making a difference in the lives of employees is why Carla Vasquez is worthy of Employee of the Year. Joshua Tesoriero is the Deputy County Public Defender at the Public Defender's Office. He handles complex cases with ease, including second chairing a 5-month homicide case with more than 150 pleadings.
He's come to our department carrying a caseload far above his pay grade, doing great work on his cases.
Joshua was recently elected President of the Yuma County Bar Association and also serves on the Board of Directors for Community Legal Services.
He represents his clients very diligently. He's a great advocate, and he also has community involved.
Joshua Tesoriero is a rising star in the Arizona legal community, and that is why he is a nominee for Employee of the Year. Fabian Perez is a senior systems administrator who led the county's transition to the new Oracle Cloud platform. He is eager to tackle complex problems that would otherwise cost the county thousands of dollars to engage outside sources.
Whenever any issue came to his attention, if he didn't have the answer, he took the time to find it. He's tenacious when it comes to finding the root cause of an issue.
He also aided the county attorney's office in the implementation of the CarPal case management system. He provides excellent customer service, always representing himself, the department, and the county in a professional, ethical manner. And this is why Fabian Perez has been nominated for County Employee of the Year. Miriam Galindo has been with Yuma County for 19 years and is currently the Immunizations Program Coordinator. She worked nonstop throughout the pandemic to ensure that everyone in Yuma County had equal access to vaccines. She made sure that vaccine clinics were available on weekends and evenings, and managed a school-based clinic in which 1,500 children received vaccines.
We wouldn't have been able to vaccinate all of the people we vaccinated in Yuma County without Miriam's expertise in this field.
Her dedication to vaccinate and protect our community is why Miriam Galindo is a nominee for Employee of the Year. Next up, we'll introduce you to the 3 court employees who stood out last year and were nominated for the 2021 Court Employee of the Year. Edgardo Gonzalez works as an adult probation officer too and has been employed with Yuma County for 21 years. His vast knowledge and wide-ranging experience allowed him to fill in a variety of positions during a period of high turnaround.
He's familiar with every aspect of this department, from pretrial to probation, case of supervision. So he's really, I would say, the glue that helps us stay together and to keep the workflow going.
Efficiency in the court system has been significantly improved. Edgardo Gonzalez is a team player who helps build the morale of the department, and that is why he is worthy of Court Employee of the Year. Jennifer Rader is an accounting clerk 2 for the Juvenile Justice Center. She's been an employee for 15 years and during the pandemic covered for many positions, which essentially doubled her workload.
Because of the different positions she's held, she's been a clerk, she's been in collections, and then most recently accounting clerk 2. She knows and has a lot of history of those various positions, so she's been able to lend herself and kind of step in.
She utilized her expertise in the Tax Intercept program to ensure outstanding court fees were properly documented for collection. She took the initiative to assist with minimum accounting standards audit. Jennifer Rader exemplifies the characteristics of a model court employee, and it's why she is worthy for Court Employee of the Year. Isabel Banuelos is a collection specialist too and has been employed by the court for 22 years. She took the lead during a transitional time in the office to ensure continued operations and excellent customer service, enabling strong financial collections.
There are a lot of things to accomplish. She has done them all, done them with grace, good customer service, and developing a team.
She has really stepped up to take care of the unit in a very professional manner.
She developed schedules, trainings, and reduced backlogs. Her focus on care for staff, customers, and the department's mission is why Isabel Banuelos is a nominee for Court Employee of the Year. Those are your County and Court Employee of the Year nominees for 2021. We now want to take a moment to recognize some county employees who went above and beyond to ensure safety in Yuma County and have been nominated for the Safety Excellence Award. Jessica Martin, Voter and Election Services. Eric Neveretti, Facilities Management. Leonel Ruiz, Public Works. Monica Monte, Public Fiduciary. And Roxana Nunez, ITS. Congratulations to all of our nominees. Winners of each category will be announced at the next Board of Supervisors meeting on Monday, April 18th. We'd like to thank you for joining us for this County Line. If you'd like to watch past episodes, log on to yumacountyaz.gov/VOD. And don't forget, you can join us live on Facebook.
This is a special time of the year all the time, and I just want to, before we start with the process, I just want to read something really quick. It's the 5 to 45-year employees are 197, which either tells me that we got a lot of new people hired, or we're getting an older workforce, but they have a combined 2,485 years of dedicated service to Yuma County. They be 5 years or more, 66 employees, 10 years, 40 employees, 15 years, 42 employees, 20 years, 31 employees, 25 years, 11 employees, 30 years, 5 employees, 35 years, 1 employee, and 45 years, 1 employee. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands it doesn't mean that these are the people these are older people. It means that if you're between 5 and 10 years, you're in between, right? So we don't really acknowledge people who have been 6 years or 7 years or 8 years. So it's just impossible to tell from the numbers how many years people have been working for Yuma County. We can only recognize 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 35, 30, and 35 and 45 years. But anyone that's been around for 45 years, I have to say, Ben, I think anyway, I don't want to take Susan's thunder there, but
You already did.
Graduated.
Too late for
but
that.
we didn't stage this. So anyway, go ahead, Susan.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. It's my pleasure and privilege to be here to assist in recognizing our dedicated employees who have served so many years with Yuma County. And you're right, every year we recognize people who reach milestones, but every year in between, they're continuing their service to the county. And we do appreciate every employee during the month of April, especially we highlight that. So as the chairman mentioned, we have 197 employees that I'm going to recognize today, and I'm going to read each of their names. And that's because we generally, in normal times, we have at the historic Yuma Downtown Theater, we have our event in person. We recognize every person coming up on stage. The board has an opportunity to shake their hand and say thank you, as well as myself and the HR team. And because of COVID, we haven't been able to do that, so we're doing it virtually. So I want to make sure that we do take the time to recognize each of the employees who are reaching a milestone. We just can't do it personally yet, but I'm hopeful that next year we can do it in person at the theater and really celebrate those milestones in person. person and with a warm shake of the hand. So we're looking forward to doing that next year. So in the meantime, I do want to recognize all these employees with a combined 2,485 years of service. It's really unbelievable to just add up the numbers. And these are only a snapshot of all the employees who work for the county day in and day out. So as I mentioned, I'm going to announce their names because we do want to recognize them. So with 5 years of service, we have Jonathan Duarte, Heather Gazda, Adriel Castaneda, Rosalia Vargas, Susan Thorpe, Griselda Cordova, Josh Davis, Megan Elizabeth Elkins, Dallin Marcy, Azucena Ruiz, Amber Kelly, Roman Vega, Leonard De Leon, Eric Navarrete Pacheco, Margarita Maggie Gamboa, Irene Barba, Ana Carreves Melendrez, Elizabeth Cardenas, Sarah De Leon, Marcia Fuentes, Alicia Gonzalez, Danielle Russell, Victor Santiago. Continuing with our 5 years, Renee Franco, Jesus Roldan, Carlos Flores, Selena Romero, Stephen Palick, Joe Quinones, Francesca Rodriguez, Alma Barcena, Ignacio Trejo, Leslie Castro, Brenda Cervantes, Manuel Cordova, Alexis Duchesne, Jose Orduño, Angel Puga, Antonio Rios Jr., Laura Arce, Edgar Ambrice, Shannon Thomas, Alexander Benitez, David Delgado. Victor Garcia, Christopher Hand, Luis Lopez Escagera, Leticia Lopez, Jorge Macias, Araceli Meza Mendina, Stephanie Ponce Garcia, Miriam Romero, Alexia Saenz, Lillian Zarega, Dennis Zimmerman Jr., Troy Burns, Jairo Cardenas, Kyle Christoffel, Jorge Martinez, Ryan Regan, Cody Walden, Sarah Romero Aguirre, Pamela Walsma, Michael Bell Jr., Ariel Acosta, Manuel Sarte Meeser. Moving to our 10 years of service. Jeremy Heil, Lucia Rodriguez, William Tony Holzer, Bobby Joe Daly, Corina McDowell, Tammy Sue Sherman, Melissa Van Horn, Maria Soto, Maritza Ortiz, Courtney Chapman Drew, Nadia Perez, Nathaniel Sorensen, Thomas Delgado Jr., Robert L. Hunter II, Angel Del Rocio Bab, Joan Castillo, Margarita Williams, Marion Jones, Zachary Harrison, Nicholas Herrera. Continue with 10 years of service, Daniel Grund, Pamela Gutierrez, Elias Hurtado, Elia Juarez Jimenez, Alma Mendoza, Juan Valdez, Ana Vargas, Carolina Hodges, Shannon Heidmiller, Patricia Munoz, William Sally, Gabriela Yanez, Angelica Hernandez, Maria Beltran, Nancy Gray-Eid, Eric Gilliland Doreme, Diana Luna, Christine Reeder, Donna Shepard, Elizabeth Betty Brashear. With 15 years of service, Claudia Altamirano, Susan Malarchik, Vianette Munoz, Maria Rojas, Jaime Velasquez, Vicki Wiseman, Lisa Marie Stanfield, Reina Herrera, Michael Pino, Lorena Garcia, Blanca Victoria, Rodrigo Vargas, Denise Butler, Gloria Coronado, Adriana Galvan, Ana Trigueros, Angelica Diaz Boves, Ana Covarrubias, Beatriz Felix, Gabriela La Chica Rodriguez. Continuing with 15 years of service, Jennifer Rader, Jennifer Cruz, Melanie Rowe, Daniel Bonilla, Bradford Brown, Kelly Fricky, Edward Trujillo, Benito Sauceda, Magdiel Valenzuela, Joanne Munoz, Julian Aguayo, Margarita Covarrubias, Jesus Monjardin, Nidia Monjardin, Gerardo Monjardin Valenzuela, Alan Nelson, Thomas Ruel, Corey Rusum, Martin Sanchez, William Valdez, Salvador Salazar, Daniel Salcida. With 20 years of service, Elizabeth Victoria Clarkson, Jesse Butler, John Smith, Sandra Conley, Maria Martinez, Monica Valenzuela, David Martinez, Arturo Alvarez, Alan Azcagorda Quintero, Veronica Seda, Victoria Arvizo, Mary Jo McIntyre, Benito Lopez Alvarez, Miriam Padilla Moreno, Daniel Cruz. 20 years, Yolanda Huerta Urbalejo, Emma Roman, Erica Bustamante, Sandra Gutierrez, Maria Mendez, Salvador Rivera, Myra Quintana, Rachel Stallworth, David Callahan, Esteban Caudillo, Lori Delesio, Anna Osuna, Richard Mendez, James Waddell, Anthony Smith, Mark Reeves. Special years of service. These individuals receive a plaque and a special recognition of their service. John Tate, Joseph Martinez Jr., Jeffrey Weeks, Eloina Eustace, Robert Guzman, Brian Franson, Richard Moraz, Gerardo Quintana, Ana Amezcua, Francisco Pereda, and Juana Willen. With 30 years of service, Nicholas Arias, Kathleen Ward, Pamela Teal, James Patrick, David Hawes. More special years of service, 35 years, Teresa Buxco. And special recognition with 45 years, Ben Ciro Jr. with Juvenile Court. And Ben is here, so we can recognize him specially. If he could come up along with Ed Gilligan, the Juvenile Court Director.
Yeah, he also studied when he was 10.
I have to tell you, Ben and I graduated together.
Oh, don't say that.
Kofa Kings, yes, we are.
A few years ago.
I know, just a few.
Chairman, members of the board, it's absolutely my pleasure today on your behalf to present you, Ben, in recognition of 45 years of loyal and dedicated service to the Superior Court in Yuma County. This plaque, this amazing clock in your office.
It doesn't mean anything, Ben. It doesn't mean you have to watch it every time.
Track time.
You know, it's not.
As one of your newest employees, I honestly say that Ben is a person in the department that is an ambassador to work in this county. He's a person that is the truest form of a public servant. He cares deeply about improving the lives of children and families in this community and ultimately enhancing the quality of life in Yuma County. It's a person that took me on a tour of the county and has been just an absolute exemplary employee. And a number of his colleagues are here today to recognize his service. It is absolutely distinguished service to this county. And I know he's got a lot more years in the tank. So he's an absolutely fantastic colleague. It's a privilege to work with him.
We've been warned. We'll have a picture with you. David, you want to say a couple of words? No? Well, before we do that, we would like to thank everyone for their integrity, their commitment, and dedicated service. Everybody, I mean, people who've been here for a year, people who've been here for 30, for 40 years. I mean, I think that Yuma County has the biggest crew, the nicest and best crew available in administration. That includes the administrator, who's looking at me like I'm stealing her thunder, but no.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Ben. I didn't realize how long you've been on it. I thought I was breaking a record, but no.
No, he's
No
got
way.
you beat.
Oh, he's got me twice. Should have gone to my hairdresser this morning.
One, two, three.
Oh, wait. You was taking the picture.
Thank you.
This way.
I already hugged you, but I'll do it again.
Okay.
And hopefully next year we'll go back to something a little more formal.
Reunion.
Wow. I do want to say this is kind of like the end of this, I hope, and we will get to a little more. And this is a proper warning for the Human Resources Department. I miss the barbecue. I miss the big get together. I know movie nights are good, but I mean I'd like to harken back to the time we could all get together and play a softball game or do something together. So I'm looking forward to the time we go back to doing something in person. But thank you very much. Thank you for all the work and dedication you guys put into this. I know it's a lot of work. I know it doesn't seem like it, but because it takes place in 20 minutes, but there's been a lot of work involved in just putting all this together. We do want to thank the employees, especially the employees in a business where service is the only thing we actually sell. It's nice to think that there's people that care enough to stay around for 45 years. That's, to me, it's a sign that they must like what they're doing. I don't think that anyone that doesn't like what they're doing are going to stick around for 45 years. So thank you, Dave. Thank you, everybody. All right. Anything else, guys, before we move on? Anything else? Okay, then let's move on then to, I think we did the COVID thing. So we're going to move on to Development Service, Zoning Division, review and approval of the calendar year 2021 annual report. Is there anybody here from, oh, they're outside waiting?
I think they may be next door. We can go, you're doing the annual,
Not in the right sequence?
the annual report from DD?
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yes. Number 2.
Yeah, we got the hearings after that, but. Well, we can take something else while they come back. You go get her. We're gonna go to item 3, administration grants discussion and possible action to reprioritize project for the fiscal year 2022 community development block grant application for Arizona Department of Housing. When you said reprioritize, I know, Maggie, we'll get back to you in a second. Where's they're coming too? Oh, they thought that employee thing was gonna last like an hour or something, I guess. We're gonna go back to number 2 while number 3 gets ready. And number 2 is Development Services, review and approval of the calendar year 2021 annual report. Maggie, you're up. You got a PowerPoint presentation?
It's a short one, and I can make it shorter if you want.
Right. Roll it. There's no presentation.
Okay.
What's up with
well,
that?
Mr. Chairman, Maggie Castro.
Oh, there's a handout.
Yes, I did send the PowerPoint presentation, and I was told that they would also distribute a handout. This is the presentation on the annual report for calendar year 2021.
Yeah, I read it in the paper.
There is one here somewhere, I thought.
Yes.
This one. It's okay. We can. Do you have a copy of it so you can follow it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So, yes, the PowerPoint, the report is prepared or brought to you pursuant to the Planning and Zoning Commission bylaws. I'll start off with the Planning and Zoning Division or the Planning section comparison of activities. In calendar year 2021, if you look at the first table that's in the presentation, there was an increase of 25% in the overall level of activity if you compare it to calendar year 2020. And there was a 76% increase compared to 5 years ago. For calendar year 2020, or there was a 17% increase in number of rezoning cases, 87% increase in number of land division permits, and 50% increase in number of variance cases if you compare it to calendar year 2020. The next item in your handout is distribution or a map showing where activity is taking place. In calendar year 2021, there were 4 major amendments and 8 minor amendments that were approved by the board, 27 rezoning cases, 8 special use permit cases, 27 variances, and 1 final plat approved. The map shows where the majority of activity takes place. A lot of it takes place in the foothills planning area, and then another chunk in the Yuma Mesa planning area. There were 2 text amendments approved in calendar year 2021, and one had to do with
recreational marijuana.
The language concerning marijuana establishments, and then the other one was amendment to concerning hearing officer process.
Yeah, that one was driven by the board, by the board asking that the process to hear those zoning would be faster. Otherwise, we end up with cases that last a long time. So one was statute driven, the other one's board driven.
Correct. As far as permits and projects reviewed, in calendar year 2021, there was an increase of 28% in the number of permits and projects that were reviewed and completed by the Planning and Zoning Division. And that's compared to calendar year 2020. If you compare it to 5 years ago, the increase is a 95% increase in the permits and projects that are being reviewed by the planning staff. Staff did conduct some outreach activities during calendar year 2021. There was a neighborhood meeting for a specific rezoning case, which was a case over in Sierra Sands. There was also a meeting with the Arizona Game and Fish Department concerning their responses to requests for comments on the cases that we process. There was a neighborhood meeting for the major amendments that was done back in September. And then there was also an open house concerning the 2030 comprehensive plan. The Director of Development Services and the Planning Director also participated in numerous meetings concerning the YPG joint land use study that is being, that was prepared, and we were working with a consultant on that. The actual study is pretty much done, and we're getting ready to bring it to the board for presentation, probably within the next month or so. The zoning enforcement section, in calendar year 2021, there was a decrease in the total number of complaints received and a decrease in total inspections conducted in calendar year 2021 if you compare it to calendar year 2020. Some of the decrease in number of inspections has to do with the fact that when we send out a courtesy notice of violation, it just means that some of the cases are being brought into compliance before the case is taken to the hearing officer, which results in less inspections. We had 220 complaints received, 129 cases processed, 110 zoning violations closed, and 358 total inspections conducted in calendar year 2021. The Building Safety Division, in calendar year 2021, there was a 43% increase, and I'm going over the building safety table. There was an increase of 48% in new construction valuations and 120% compared to 5 years ago. So the 43 is compared to 2020, the 120% is compared to 5 years ago. There was a 24% increase in new single-family residential permits, 4% increase in average valuations and for new single-family residences, and an 18% increase in total number of inspections, and 80% increase if you compare it to 5 years ago. The map in your table shows where the majority of building permit activity is taking place. Again, most of it takes place in the Foothills planning area and in the Yuma Mesa planning area. The environmental programs division, in calendar year 2021 compared to 2020, there was a 9% increase in fees received, 14% increase in septic tank inspections, 18% decrease in permits issued, 10% increase in septic tank inspection permits finaled, a 20% decrease in site evaluations, and a 32% decrease in pumper hauler inspections. The pumper hauler inspections has to do with the fact that there was a grace period that was granted by the Environmental Programs Division. So some of those inspections have not happened yet. And then as far as the Permit Services Division, we are continuing with the implementation of the new permit software that was started in calendar year 2020, which is Central Square Technologies. And most of the permitting is now automated to where applicants and developers or property owners can submit building permit applications online, where prior to this, that wasn't, with the old permit software, that was not possible. So the new permitting system allowed the automation of the permitting system. Mr. Chairman, that concludes the presentation.
You know what strikes me, Maggie, it's a good presentation. It is a very detailed presentation. What strikes me is the fact that in most cases, most things went up, gradually, which was to me a little surprising. And maybe the complaints were low a little bit, but people stayed home a lot, so it gives them more time to to look around for their neighbors. It's a pretty thorough report. And again, I was surprised by the gradual growth in the expense of growth that it shows. It shows a lot of building. It shows a lot. It seems to me it just shows that the trend is continuing upwards, that it hasn't been slowed down much, in that it's an encouraging sign that things, notwithstanding the pandemic and notwithstanding all the problems we've had over the last year, still continue to go up and still continue to show a trend upward. Construction, evaluations, all those things that people look at signs of growth are there, notwithstanding what the census said about Somerton and other places in the county. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Thank you, Maggie.
That was so thorough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want us to approve it, accept it?
Approve it.
Approve it. Oh, well.
I move we approve the what's it called?
Review and approve the calendar year 2021 annual report.
There you go. So moved.
I'll second it.
And motion and second to approve the report as presented. All those, any discussion? If no discussion, all those in favor signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Maggie, thank you very much. Thank you for waiting. We'll then move on to the administration grants. I think we've got the right people now. So we're going to move on to number 3, discussion and possible action to reprioritize projects for the fiscal year 2022 Community Development Block Grant applications to the State Department of Housing.
Hi again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Diana Veloz with County Administration. I'm here today to talk to you about the board ranking for their Community Development Block Grant projects. They were ranked back in January 3rd of 2022 at a board meeting. There was an increase in the estimated regional allocation, which is an increase of $77,000. So it makes our regional allocation $6,017 and $16. The funding was for the first project for community Catholic Community Services to fund them $200,000. The second project that was ranked was the Foothills playground equipment for the park that is going to be constructed out there for $225,000. So with that being said, that leaves me a budget of $80,900 available for the next project. So within that ranking, they did, we did talk about the 5th Street between Avenue B and C, Colonia lighting. And the board asked me to do some research on that and see if it was a viable project for the CDBG funds. And as of right now, the project is estimated at $250,000 if we want to do solar lighting and $90,000 if we want to do APS lighting. That does not include any maintenance or right-of-way costs. Okay, so in
90K if you want to do 90,000? APS,
and then
okay.
those estimates are on the arms that could be put on the existing power poles that are out there, which some of those power poles are pretty congested. There's so much stuff on them that we might not be able to put a light on there. So that's what the estimate is.
The question I would have is who would then pay every year for the street lights? Would there be a district? Yeah.
It would be the board, the general fund that would have to pay for it.
No, wait. No. That's one of the things that we don't like to do. I mean, we don't mind putting up stuff and paying it with CDBG funds, but you know, assuming a lighting cost in an area, it's not something that we take lightly. At least I don't take lightly because, I mean, what would preclude other areas for asking for lighting? It's just more like a city thing.
Residents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, Mr. Chairman. That's what we also determined in our report, that there's other lighting districts in the area that are already paying for the maintenance of the lights. That lighting district is not linked to the 5th Street neighbors. Those people would have to form their own lighting district, and we would have to work with the community to be able to have them form their own lighting district.
You know,
right now,
I think the cost of doing that is not that high. That $90,000 doesn't face me too much, but I think that the fact that there will be a millions cost every year makes me wonder if we're going down a path that we later regret. Would it be possible to have the Rachel, Stalwart, work on creating a lighting district before we go ahead and do any improvements in that area so that we know who's going to be paying for the continued maintenance of that area?
She can work on that, yes, and we have spoken about her speaking to the community out there, so we could establish, you know, a signature forms and things like that out there.
It takes 2 to 3 years to get that done, though.
It does take a while. Yes.
Well, it's going to come in a cycle with our next CDBG.
Just a comment. The county already pays for certain lighting throughout the county. They're not free.
Well, no. Where?
So every intersection that it's out there that has lighting.
That's on county right away, though.
But the county pays for it.
Yeah, but it's county right away. This is not. This is a private subdivision.
But it's still, the county pays for it. So that we pay for it, the county pays for it, we do. Cities also do the same thing.
Cities do it all the time.
And so it's not something that it's new. So
it's new to me. I've been here 20-some years, and I don't remember assuming the responsibility of maintenance in a private subdivision. I said on right-of-ways, the county does. On areas that are county, I don't have a problem with that, but this will be purchasing right-of-way and putting it in a subdivision in an area. That is a new one to me.
No. You didn't say purchasing. They're on an existing poles that are out there already.
This 90,000 is using the existing poles that are out there. Now, if those poles are too congested, we are going to have to put a new light post there, and that some of that would require for us to acquire right-of-way, the purchase of right-of-way.
Let me ask a question. There are some lights already on that street, huh?
They are. There's 4 lights out there.
Who pays for
the
them?
lighting district next
lighting
on
district
5th Street. They're closest to Avenue C, and the lighting district that was formed next on the street over are the ones that are paying for those 4 street lights. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with putting in this.
But why are they paying for that? Because I know not too long ago there was a lighting district created on C Street or C Avenue and in a residential area there, but not to include those other lights. I wasn't aware of that.
I think that those four homes there were included in that lighting district, and that's why they got lights on in that area for them.
Because the lighting district was on the other side. The other street was part of the colonial, right?
The Avenue C
Did that wrong.
Colonia, it was a separate lighting district, but it is in it's 6th Street, yes.
6th Street Lighting
Yes.
District.
But those lights were already there before that one. They were.
Those lights were not there. They just established a lighting district maybe probably a year to 2 years ago, and they were installed. They were not
On Fifth Street?
On 6th Street.
On 6th Street.
But what we could do is work with APS to find out who's paying those bills, so we know who is the.
Because we're talking about Fifth Street. Yeah. Because I know there's some lights there, but they've been there for a while, at least that I recall. So who was paying for them before?
I can go back.
But the idea behind this was that the project itself, which was priced, if you wanted solar, was a different price, and if we wanted the APS to do it, it would just be the installation of arms and the installation of lights, and then the issue of who would pay for them, their maintenance and upkeep, is what really we're discussing right now. Yes. And like I said, I don't have any problem investing the money with APS or whomever to put the lights on. I just want to know who's going to be responsible for paying from that point on. And if you have until May the 20th to provide this information to Wake Up. Do you?
Actually, I have until the next Board of Supervisors meeting, because I want to be here to ratify those applications, which are due May 20th. But we need to advertise them for 30 days, put them in the paper, come have a public hearing with you all, and then ratify those applications then. So,
Diana, could you explain what our staff recommendation is at this point?
Yes, our staff recommendation, Mr. Chairman, is that the project is not viable because it's the budget that we have is only $80,900 for it, and that there's already a lighting district established on 6th Street. So our recommendation is to move the owner-occupied housing program project up to rehabilitate one home and work with the community to try and establish a lighting district on 5th Street.
I want to make sure that we don't leave that unattended. I want to make sure that we continue the process of getting some lighting to these people. I feel like we have an obligation to see that problem and work towards solving it. And again, I think that we need to do it, and we do it the right way. To me, the right way would be to create a lighting district for that area. When we create a lighting district, we know who's going to pay for it, then we can set aside funds to do it either. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like we can do it from the capital improvement funds, but we could if we wanted to do that. Or we could just simply set aside some funds during the next cycle so that we can actually take care of that. I know it's not an immediate thing, but almost nothing happens in the county immediately. It takes some time. I don't want to leave those people in the lurch, but I don't want to set a precedent that we would go into these areas and then create, put up lighting and then pay for it. I agree that there might be some cases. I mean, I'm not all-knowing. I don't know. Maybe there is some cases where the county is in some of these properties and paying for the lights, but I find that to be hard to believe in the past. If it had come to the board that I was in the past. Now, we seem to be moving forward with a lot of things we didn't do in the past. So maybe we ought to start looking at those things as differently. But at this particular time, I have, the recommendation is to move up the ranking and put the other one in 3rd and the other one in 4th. I mean, it kills it basically for this year.
I don't have a problem with it, but I just want to make a comment. We need to start looking at the objectives of the grants, which is to eliminate slum and blight and help areas that really need it. So from now on, myself, I don't have anything against nonprofit organizations, but I think we need to start investing that money back into the community that makes an impact for the people that live around there. And just one last comment.
It's okay.
Orange Grove and Palo and Mesa Verde,
Mm-hmm.
they have lights. There's no district there. Who pays for them? That's been there for 40, almost 50 years. Just
find out for me.
Find out. I don't know who
That,
pays for
But I can do more research on that.
just so we don't turn them off, okay? If we're paying for them, let's keep paying for them.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I just want to let you know that if we are going to do some in blighted areas, the board would have to declare those areas slum and blighted before we can do anything about it. Yes.
No, but I tend to agree that we, and I came to the board at a time where the board refused to take CDBG funds. Totally refused to take it.
Oh,
when I first came in, they wouldn't take any. They wouldn't give it to anyone. So I have an experience going off from the time that we didn't take any to the point we said, okay, well, let's look at the food banks, let's look at all these nonprofits and help in areas that were common. I mean, to everybody. There seems to be, and I can see that as a part of, just moving on and growing on to now a concern that we're using the funds without benefiting people directly. That's just up for discussion. I think whenever we do something for community Catholic services or something, we're impacting a lot more people. But this is a definition of slum and blight. And for that, we need to designate areas slum and blight. It is a growing different path. So, but we need to take that into account. We may have to designate some areas, slum and blight, which they may not like it, but it's probably the only way we can direct money to those areas when the time comes. Again, lighting seems to be just like sewer and just like water. It seems to be one of those things the county never got into directly. We always created a tool so people could get it, whether it was in Gaston or whether it was anywhere else. If that is the case, I'd like to research it a little bit. I'm not, again, against going a little more into the city services because we come from city services. But, I want to move carefully, tread that carefully. I know that we did a lot of work on the streets and, in different places. We did a lot. And I appreciate that because I think that move was the right move. So I can see where this is going to. And so I want the staff to be prepared because that's going to come up. I'm sure Supervisor Porches is going to make sure that it comes up. So we need to look at those slum and blight areas in the county and see how we can help them with this money a little more directly. Got it? All right. So is there a motion to approve the recommendation? Or
I'll make that motion to approve the recommendation.
I'll second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to reprioritize the projects for the fiscal year 2022 Community Development Block Grant. And remember, we are making this motion based on the fact that we're going to do a little more research about how to pay or who's paying for this street lighting that is available right now through the county, I guess. All right?
Yes.
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead, thank you. Human Resources, regarding the recruitment process for county administrative position, Board of Supervisors appointments to the county administrative recruitment panel.
Good morning, Chairman Reyes and
When you do anything right now.
Jessica Rodriguez is providing you some additional handouts that weren't included in your
But
packet.
it did come in, the time they didn't even take it.
So as you may recall, back on March 21st, you had requested some information about the Yuma County's recruitment process and basically like a timeline and what that would look like and what options that Human Resource could present to you. So as I'm here in front of you today, I'm providing you some additional information. You have an example of a draft handout, which will actually look as a brochure that we would communicate to all of interested applicants for the candidacy for the county administrator position. As well in front of you are some options that I would like for us to be able to go through today to discuss what our process is. I have provided you the rule, PR Rule 201, that talks about recruitment. It also discusses how we competitively fill that vacancy and how with this position we would announce it publicly for 10 days in hopes that our announcement would be effective today, April 4th. And the first time that we would actually be able to start screening those applications is Monday, April 18th. So that means by April 20th, Human Resources actually able to disseminate the applications to one of the options that you would select as a board of how we would proceed. And so, yes, Supervisor Reyes.
No, continue. Okay. I have a question.
And some of those options that you can see there, I have options A through C for you. One of the requests to assist with recruitment of the county administrator is option A. Option A would be that there would be 5 members for a recruitment panel, and that recruitment panel could consist of 2 board of supervisors deemed as to who you would like to appoint to that committee, as well as 3 other members at the discretion of the board who you would like to be added to that committee. HR will provide the panelists copies of the applications and schedule a meeting. Now, because you have some board members and depending on who else that we would have in that committee, it's subject to open meeting law. And so would want to discuss the applications and arrange a date for those interviews, and I'd have to do the posting and so forth as what we would proceed with that. If the panel selects a candidate, I would then prepare an agenda item to present to the Board of Supervisors, that date to be determined, as well as candidates would be announced prior to the next Board of Supervisors meeting in the paper, so that this way the community knows as to who are possibly some candidates that the board would be considering. And then at that point, the Board of Supervisors could schedule another time where they get to make that appointee, and then we bring this information to the Board of Supervisors again. Option B. Option B is the recruitment panel would consist of 5, and that would be all 5 board members. And so as all 5 board members are on this panel, then of course I would provide that information of copies of applications. I would need to schedule a meeting with you. That meeting would be subject to open meeting law, discuss the applications, arrange a date for the interview, and then if the BOS selects a candidate, we will prepare the agenda item, present the information at a BOS, that date to be determined, and candidates will be announced in the paper prior to the BOS meeting, and then the BOS would then select their appointee for the county administrator position. And then option C is the Board of Supervisors could direct HR to select a recruitment panel of 5. This process would not be subject to open meeting. What I would then do is be able to meet with those panelists, provide them copies of the applications, schedule a meeting to discuss the applications, arrange a date and time for those interviews, and then the panel would then select the candidates. I present that information to you at a Board of Supervisors meeting. We would then arrange a date for your interview of those candidates, as well as that would then be subject to open meeting law, and then we could then decide at the next date when you'd want to appoint that person. Of course, those candidates are also subject to, I would provide the notification to the paper, so that this way the community is fully aware of our process. So with this information, it's different options for you to decide as to how you would like to proceed. I've been working with the county attorney's office with regards to this process to ensure that this is something that if offered, your selection today, we would then know, well, we're going to move forward, and the county attorney's office will be involved through the whole process according for legal review. So with that, may I entertain any questions?
Well, it may not be questions necessarily, but they're comments.
Okay.
I like the organization description, the organization opportunities, the keys, the ideal candidate, the community description, the specific. Now we get into the candidate, the specific education and experience requirement. I like the first part. The second part, preferred qualifications. I think that if we do that kind of thing, we need to have the assistant administrator be also at that level, because and if I remember the comments made during the last time, that's what we sort of hired an assistant administrator. So that preferred qualification, I'm not very keen about. I mean, I would say that, a bachelor's degree, and if I'd say that that's fine. And I said that the preferred qualifications are just preferred qualifications. The compensation and benefits, that seems low to me. And when you said the range of 7240 to 116.77, that's actually pretty wide. What does it mean in terms of the actual salary? Is it 90 to 120?
So it actually is. So the information that we provided there, I recently conducted a market study through all the 15 counties to acquire as to what is the minimum, the midpoint, and the max, because this position is contractual. So that minimum equates to minimum is 148,000 For the midpoint, as you see there, the max there of 116, that equates to, it was 200 and, I do apologize that I did.
I'm not gonna get into details right now, but
So it's 241,280 at the max.
I don't know if you want to do that. If you want to even consider, I don't know. I think paying $250,000 or close to $250,000 to someone with additional benefits, et cetera, it's really open it really wide.
So Supervisor Reyes, the reason why you have the minimum to the max, so that this way you have an area of negotiability of what you all decide. So if I, as that applicant, apply for the position, and based on, let's say, as you just said, I possess a master's degree, then because your minimum requirements is a bachelor's, you would then can take into account my level of additional education that preferred, plus the additional years of experience that you're asking here. So that's where that room for negotiation occurs.
Yeah, but the negotiations, when you bring someone, if you open it up that far up, I mean, that's a pretty much, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that, with that top. Right. I mean, I'm not even comfortable with the bottom, but, let's just say that I'm not thinking of hiring anyone at the $200,000 range. So why would you open it up to that level? I don't know if it brings in additional candidates, but I don't want to bring in someone thinking they can get to that level. I want a top and a bottom to be somewhat what Susan was making. I'm not going to get into details how much she was making, but somewhere around that range. And that's kind of a little rich for my blood. And I know that you're just saying, well, it's a range, but I'm saying you got to keep the range a little more reasonable to me. The options A, B, and C about the panel, normally we use option A because it keeps everybody, to be able to do this confidentially, you don't have to open it up, right? Correct? Two members of the board do not make a majority, or the fact that they're members makes it an open meeting type situation.
If you have committees that are appointed by the Board of Supervisors, they will be subject to open meeting law.
So any way we do it, it'd be open.
If you allow your HR department or another department to create its own panel for its own purposes of providing recommendations, generally not going to be that's to open meeting law.
Well, I like the panel to include some members of the
I do
board.
too.
I think that's kind of a decision. I would have no problem with that panel being set for almost any other position. But this one, I think, requires that at least some of the board members be able to look at this and maybe understand a little bit before it gets to us. That process is too delicate. It's one of the few decisions that the board gets to make. Everything after that is the administrator, the HR. So even if it means that, well, I shouldn't say it that way because it's not what I mean. Even if it means opening it up to the public, it's not what I mean. What I mean is, even if it means that you have to make this a much more restricted process, it's okay. I think that the public's right to know the process is pretty much, to me, a given. So can we work on the range?
Yes, we
a
can.
A little bit. I mean, how did the rest of the board feel about it? I mean, that's kind of how I feel. Opening it up that wide, I mean, to me means somewhat, it's better. You have more choices, but I think you have expectations. You create expectations that are not really where I think we are. Am I barking up the wrong tree? Is that,
I don't think
so? So could you sort of go back to the low and middle? Is this the low and middle?
Yeah, so that's the minimum to the max. The middle would be, do have that as well. So I can go from the minimum to the midpoint.
What is the midpoint?
And the midpoint is $92.50 an hour, which give me 1 second.
Plus benefits.
Sorry, the only reason why I'm used to doing the hourly rate because that's how our pay scale. That's $192,400.
It's rich to me, but I think that allows a certain width. I just don't want anybody expecting to come to work for Yuma County and expect to make $200,000, $250,000. So is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
We keep it below 200,000 and above 100. I don't know if the bottom is even that critical, but I think the bottom is something that we can work. I mean, with. Is that okay? Yes. Option A, B, and C. How do you guys feel about it? I like to have a couple of board members involved in the process. I don't think having all 5 board members is healthy because you have all the discussions prior to actually getting in front of us. And I think that that leaves very little to the imagination or to anything else. So I think that option, which one was the one? A, it's probably the most logical one, even if you have to post every meeting. And
I would agree with you, Mr. Chairman.
how do you guys feel? Is that okay?
A works for me.
A works for you? It works for you? All right, so we're gonna choose.
Only if I'm on the panel.
You're funny, but you know this time didn't go. That's not getting you in there to get the appointment here. But anyway, I do feel that option A, which it's a mix, would work. We would appoint 2 people from the board, and the other 3, what?
So that would be up to the board's discretion if you would like for us to reach out to other elected officials, other municipalities.
I'd like to appoint someone from Human Resources if possible, like, for example, the Director of Human Resources, whomever that may be, and a couple of other people from the outside, and maybe even the former administrator. She may have something to, when it happens, the former administrator.
Hey, you're sticking
the leaving, the retirement. And maybe even the county attorney in there. I don't know. It's open.
I know that in having conversation with the county attorney's office is that they will be a part of it, but as of a legal review. So they would be part of our open meeting forum.
You're going to be part of it anyway.
Yes.
So what we have right now is 2 supervisors,
Yes.
1 a Republican and 1 a Democrat.
Yes.
That's up to, that's really, I think it's up to, is it up to the board or is the appointment, can the appointment be made by the chairman of the board? Lynn is not here, so. Anyway, look, I recommend, Lynn.
Yes, I'm sorry.
We're in the process of choosing an option. Huh?
I like option A and I would like to be on it.
It's going to be between you 2 guys, because
That's all right.
Don't matter to me.
What did you all say?
we said that we were going to appoint 1 Democrat, 1 Republican to the
Yeah.
meeting. That's what I
Okay.
thought. But Supervisor Porches here immediately raised his hand. He says that he doesn't like that unless.
That's okay. No,
You
I'll
guys-
let Lynn.
You guys go
and-
next
and-
door into
and-
another room, and whoever comes back out.
and-
It'll be me.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I've been a fighter my whole
Martine's a
life.
gentleman.
You 2 guys are off the panel.
I thought it was you. I was gonna. Okay.
You and you would probably be the best appointees, the 2 people, Lynn and Simmons. Would you like to do that?
Yes,
Fine.
we're the 2
Okay.
that are retired.
Because we are very
Yes.
opinionated. We are sort of like, we take people and then take them where we want them to.
Well,
So,
you guys all have
yeah.
full-time.
No, it's fine. So
Darren
are
and
you
I
okay
are
with that?
Yeah.
A lot
Right.
freer.
I know
so.
Porches is maybe a little bit, but,
Our
okay,
time
so
is
we're
a lot
appointing Lynn and Mr. Simmons, both of them to that board, and we're appointing you. That would be 3, and then,
So Chairman
One
Reyes,
elected.
so
Unelected.
just a question for you. So as I would be actively engaged in the whole process, I
Yeah.
can still be part of the process, and then this way that'll allow you, even another member, if you have 1 elected and you want somebody else, this way I can still provide feedback, and then if I could also be as part as that, if there's a mediator between, ask, you have
okay,
some
so
questions.
you're refusing to.
No, I'm just trying to think of from a well-versed perspective to be able to give you the
Fine,
information.
we'll take an
honestly.
elected and then 2 more, if that's, what it takes. I like to have county people because they're going to be
Yeah.
serving under this gentleman or gentlewoman. I like to have someone that's an employee in that.
Robin Poquette for our elected. Is that okay?
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Okay, so it would be
Simmons,
Supervisor Simmons,
Supervisor Pancrazi.
Mm-hmm.
I have Robin
Poquette, recorder,
3.
elected. Mm-hmm.
How about somebody from the sheriff's office? They're the largest department in the county,
Yeah.
not necessarily elected
Are
officials.
we asking the sheriff to appoint someone?
Whoever he might, I'm just
Well,
thinking.
well, yeah, but we need to have a name. And the sheriff's another elected official.
Well, even somebody from his department, major or cap, somebody just, the only reason,
You know them all. Tell us one.
I don't want to get shot.
Come on, appoint one.
Well, look, how soon does this panel has to meet?
You have time. I just need to be able to have an idea by the
Next board meeting.
the next board meeting.
All right, well, why don't we wait until the next board meeting to appoint the other two, and that way we can suggest some names, okay? So right now, we have 3 appointments that we can make today. Would be Supervisor Pancrase, Supervisor Simmons, and as an elected official, we'll take Roland Poquet. And then we'll appoint the other 2 remaining members as soon as we get some names that we can talk about, okay?
Great.
I guess we discussed the range. I don't know if Supervisor Pancrase was here, but we decided that we're not gonna go above 200,000. Yeah, we lowered it to the mid-range, not to the high range.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so that's also a decision that we
I'm
made.
much more
What else do you
comfortable
need
with
today?
That is all that I need today.
All right, well then, thank you very much, and we'll move on to the next
Okay.
item in the agenda, because I think we got people waiting here for a while.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for, the process. Again, that preferred qualification, I'm not sure. I think, I guess if you put it in a range, I guess you ought to leave it, but, when you get into that point, I think we're sort of getting into a situation where we have to have a certain level of expertise available, and we should have a certain level of qualifications for the assistant administrator to be actually able to step up when we need him or her. Okay? Right. Well, anything else? No? Okay, then we'll move on to the next item in the agenda, which is the planning and zoning agenda, I think. Yeah, it is, I think. Planning and zoning agenda. Full legal descriptions of property sites for all rezoning cases are available for public review at the Yuma County Board of Supervisors. We'll take the expedited rezoning calendar first. Expedited rezonings are items that we open as a group for public hearing and acted upon by one motion to adopt the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission, except for any item that is removed by the board member for separate consideration. That item will be discussed and acted upon separately following actions on expedited items. Both expedited rezoning items as a group. We have one, which is Development Service Planning Zone Division Public Hearing, rezoning case number 2202. Naja Dice, agent for REE LLC, requests the rezoning of a parcel 88 gross acres in size from rural area, 10-acre minimum, to recreational vehicle subdivision. Assesses parcel number 198-18013, located on the southwest corner of Fortuna Road in the alignment of County 12th Street, Yuma, Arizona. There can be a PowerPoint presentation if available, or is available if requested. Mr. Rubio, I see you have the highest number of cases in your docket according to the last report in 2021, so you are a busy person. Let me go on to number 2. Development Services Planning and Zoning Division Public Hearing, Special Use Permit number 2201. Bruce Smith, agent for Santa Fe Hacienda Construction, requests a special use permit per section 604.03 M of the Yuma County zoning ordinance to allow an accessory dwelling unit on a parcel 30,098 square feet in size zone, low density residential, 20,000 square feet minimum. Assessor's parcel number 701-18-245, located at 12325 East Blue Sky Lane, Yuma, Arizona. Now, there's also a PowerPoint presentation if requested. Those are the expedited cases. Unless a board member requests so, I'd like to sort of have a public hearing for them, open them up, and then, go back to the board if nothing comes up, and take them on as expedited. I don't know if you guys want a PowerPoint presentation. I'm not keen on it. So you guys want anything like that? I'm going to open these 2 items on an expedited case to the public. Is there anyone in the public that wants to talk about any of these 2 particular items? Remember, this is a special use permit and a rezoning of a 80-acre parcel. Is there anyone here? Naja, I know you're here, but unless you have something that we can take on that wasn't covered by the Planning and Zoning Commission, is there anybody here that wants to address any of these issues or any of these particular items? If not, I'll turn it back to the board for their decision.
Mr. Chairman, can we just see the map up there for that first case, please?
The 80-acre on the
Yeah.
Fortuna Road? Sure. It's surrounded by RBS, right?
It's all desert. And the part that doesn't have is just desert. The state land part is all desert. Yeah.
Yeah, surrounded by state land and by other RBS zones. I think it's been considered as probably the most likely use for that property. Any other questions? No. All right. So I'll open it up for a motion. Is there a motion to approve the expedited items as presented or as recommended by the planning and zoning?
I'll make a motion that we approve on an expedited basis.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's been motion and second to approve the items listed on an expedited basis. Anybody, has any questions? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Motion carries. Those items have been approved. Thank you very much for your patience and waiting. And I'm going to go to a regular public hearing item where staff will make a full presentation on each of the following items, following separate discussion, public hearing, and action by the Board of Supervisors. This will be public hearing, minor amendment, case number 2201, Kevin Dahl from Dahl Robbins and Associates, Incorporated Agent for 11E LLC, request to change the land use designation of a 6.9 acre portion of a parcel 27.39 gross acres in size from agricultural rural residential to regional commercial. Part of assessor's parcel number 182-30-013 located in the vicinity of the northwest corner of Highway 95 and Avenue 11E, alignment, Yuma, Arizona. There will be a PowerPoint presentation by staff. I guess the next item would be a public hearing on a rezoning case, which would only happen if this passed, right? That's the way it works, right?
Yeah.
If the minor amendment passes, then we can discuss the reason. If
Yeah.
it doesn't pass, there's no reason. Okay, all right, so go ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Javier Barraza, Senior Planner. Being approached just minutes ago by the applicant. The applicant wished to postpone minor amendment case 2201 and rezoning case 2201 for the second meeting on May 16.
Are there issues left? I mean, people came to testify, or to, I've got 3 sheets of paper here. I'm supposed that they took time to come to the public hearing. If we postpone it, and which we can, if we postpone it, then all the time they spent waiting would be kind of, actually legal as always advised me not to do that, but I mean, I don't mind postponing it. I know there's some issues that probably need to be worked out because that's normally what happens when somebody wants a postponement is they want to work through these issues. But I guess if the board wants to, we can listen to the issues and allow them to come up and do their presentation. Yeah, I will. As soon as there won't be any presentation because.
I can present.
Well, present because we may postpone it, but I think we need to.
Yeah, I'd like to see. Please.
Again, this is a request to change the land use designation of a 6.9 acre portion of a parcel 27.39 gross acres in size from ag rural residential to regional commercial. The project site is located in the Gila Valley planning area, vicinity on the northwest corner of Highway 95 and Avenue 11E alignment, Yuma, Arizona. The intent is to allow the rezoning of the subject portion parcel to general commercial. This is the land use map showing the subject parcel outlined in red, highlighted in yellow on the top is the subject area, 6.9 acres. In red, the middle portion of the subject parcel is already, the land use is regional commercial, which was approved last year on September 8th. The case was minor amendment case 21-05. This is an aerial view showing the subject parcel, dashed. This is a view looking southwest of the subject parcel from the northeast corner. Now looking east of the subject parcel from the west. This is a view looking north of the subject parcel on also the eastment from Highway 95. A view looking southwest of the subject parcel from the northeast corner of the parcel. I've received comments from ADA. Now comments received from property owners within the zoning notification area. We received one letter in opposition from the Yuma Coalition and also received comments from United States Bureau of Reclamation. The Planning Commission recommends approval of minor amendment case number 22-01 based on the following 3 items on the screen. And that concludes the minor amendment presentation. Can I continue with the rezoning or?
No. We need to, if they want to postpone the minor amendment, they will postpone the rezoning too. They go together. So I'm going to listen, and I don't know which order they were submitted, but there's Michael Callahan. Yeah, you have to go first, huh?
Good
morning, Mr. Chair.
Public hearing, yes, I did. I thought I did, but I just want to make it clear, the public hearing's open, so you're.
Good morning, Chairman and Supervisors. My name is Michael Callahan. I am the plant manager for Gallon Milling, 12300 East County A Street. 2 words for you: natural buffer. Given the industry that Gallon Milling is in, I would really appreciate for not only the chairman but the supervisors to consider take that into consideration for Gallon Milling. The regional commercial designation would, and the subsequent C2 zoning that is proposed, would give developers or future developers a right to bring in hospitality assembly uses that conflict with the existing agricultural uses. Point number 2, the Yuma County General Plan offers other land use designations guidelines to effectively improve the commercial visibility of the parcel, such as C1 or planned developments, and ag industrial, which is an A1. Mm-hmm. By developing by designating it one of the C1s or the A1. This will ensure future development plans must include compatible uses and preserve the natural buffers that Gallon Milling would need to continue in a responsible, respectful way in that area. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have.
In that map, where is Gallon Milling?
So if you were the top right-hand crosshatch area, if you were to go directly 1 mile to the northeast, that is corner to corner where our property lines would be.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for planning and zoning. Sure. What's the recommended buffer zone for Gallon?
There's no buffer zone on it. Sorry. Mr. Chairman, there's no buffer zone recommended as far as the only buffer and screening that we have is in the zoning ordinance is for development. When, for instance, you're developing a heavy industrial property and you have residential, then there's a buffer and a screening requirement. But as far as use distances.
I have another question. No, sure. Yeah. Are you finished with the question?
Are you done with your question?
Okay, we'll continue to ask.
Any other explanation on that, or is that it? There's nothing else there?
In the zoning ordinance.
In the zoning ordinance.
That will be it.
Okay.
Right.
Mr. Chair, Javier, would ag industrial, could that be those storage sheds? Could those storage facilities be considered compatible with ag?
Mr. Chairman, the ag industrial uses the land use. Zoning is the one that will pretty much will mandate what uses are allowed on the properties. But in the case, there could be a storage of, buildings in ag.
Could there be one right now? Could they have it without having to change it?
But that will be for agricultural storage.
Yeah, if you have an agricultural zone, that means that everything you do has to be related to agriculture.
So if one of those storage sheds had agricultural stuff in it, that would meet the requirement?
Probably so, Mr. Chairman.
And then the rest could have both. Okay.
Right. Okay. Any questions for Mr.
No.
I do, Mr. Chairman.
I know.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hold on.
I know.
Just one at a time. One at a time. Yes.
We're looking into the comprehensive plan to see if the ag industrial land use designation would allow the proposed zoning. Even if that were the case, under the current minor amendment case, the board could not take the action to.
I don't think we need to or want to take action. I wanted to hear what these people that came over to testify would want to. The applicant has decided to pull it back. So I guess whatever issues are going to come up, they're going to have some time to talk about them. Whether that changes or not, that's a different story. But we'll hear this again. I just want to let Mr. Callahan,
everybody else,
Mrs. Schill, and Mr. Harden, come up and say what they want to say. I mean, they want to come up again when it comes up again. That's their choice.
Maggie, I have another question. Could we do a special use permit for them and allow them to put those storage sheds in there with a special use permit?
Mr. Chairman, not under the current zoning.
Look, and even if we were discussing that, man, we couldn't do it in a meeting. We had to repost it and
I
had to
know,
go
but
back
I'm
to
just
everything.
saying, is that possible?
Well, I
I'll
guess
go
that's,
meet with you.
yeah. Well,
Mr. Chairman, if that were possible, it would still require a rezoning of the property to a zoning district that would allow mini storage with the approval
I
of
understand
a
that for
special use
any
permit.
zoning to happen, the minor amendment has to be approved. Whatever the use is going to be, obviously, that's a rezoning that we have in front of us of a specific kind. But without the minor amendment, there is no rezoning of any kind. So discussions about what type of rezoning can happen in that area, I think are, the applicant and the neighbors in there should get together and talk about it.
Yes.
But that's their choice, and that's how they're going to approach it. Right now, do you have any, thank you, Maggie,
You're
for
welcome.
clarifying that. Do you have any questions for Mr. Callahan?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, we've received a few letters from a couple of different attorneys representing the group, this Yuma Ag Coalition. I looked up on the internet. I could only find information on the Yuma Ag and Water Coalition. I found no information on the Yuma Ag Coalition. I just wanted to know who the members were.
So we have Gallon Milling, we have Yuko and we also have Bill and Vicky Daly, John Daly Farms.
Was that formed specifically for this purpose, or how long has that been in existence?
So this has been in existence for probably, I believe, about over a year and a half.
Right when the applicant started to do that?
Well, and when the
and not
city.
specifically for this, I mean, it just happens to coincide with some other things that are happening in that area.
There was something else happening. Thank you, Mr. Callahan.
Thank you very much.
We would have Mrs. Shield.
Mr. Callahan, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Mr. Callahan, was it formed because of the purchasing of the city in the process of purchasing all that land on the other side of the tracks and that brought you guys all together and realizing that there is some issues? Was that when it was developed?
So yes, once John Daly received notification of potential possibilities of annexation, that's when we realized that we really needed to take a look at what would be happening in our backyard.
Start being proactive.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
You sounded like an attorney there for a minute, but fine. Thank you, Mr. Callahan.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. Shield.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Board. My name is Brandy Schill. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I first want to express my gratitude for your opposition back in November of voting no against this major amendment land change. Definitely appreciate that. To give you a little background, I am born and raised in Yuma County. I come from an ag family. I currently work for an agricultural company. My husband works for an agricultural company. He farms. My two older children are pursuing careers in agriculture. Agriculture is very important to Yuma County in addition to the world. So I just wanted to make sure you knew who I was and where I was kind of coming from. The company that I have chose to work for is called Gowan Company. They are a global company. I don't know how much you're aware. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background. This year they celebrate their 60th anniversary. So John Jessen started this 60 years ago here in Yuma County. They have chose to remain in Yuma County, have their headquarters located here in Yuma County. And so this amendment, minor amendment, is encroaching on a entity that they own. And just to kind of give you a broader perspective of the Gowan Group, there are over 600 families in the Yuma area that are employed by the Gowan Company. Across the globe, we are pushing up over 1,500 families across the globe. Once again, committed to staying here in Yuma County. Right now, the current zoning that you have, it's the best natural buffer that protects ag land. A couple things as I've been listening to your other issues that you've been talking about, you guys mentioned the word asset. Both the Yuko and Gowan Milling are an asset to farmers, not only across Yuma County, not only across the United States, but also globally. Products, millions of acres of farmland. So by you choosing to make decisions, it's broader than just here in Yuma County. You guys had a big presentation about longevity of your employees. Gowan Milling is located out there for 40 years. That's a long time. It was strategically placed there. Yuko Gin, 58 years. Once again, strategically placed there. Gowan Company, as I said, 60 years. Good roots here in Yuma. You also talked about giving back. You talked about nonprofits and things giving back. Gowan Company gives back to this community. It is important. They live in this community. They love this community. They support the families that live in this community. You talked about impacts of ag. I briefly touched on that. It's a broader reach. It's a global reach of what your decision makes today. It's a resource. We want to protect those resources just like we want to protect our water rights. We want to protect our ag land. And yes, it's a very small piece of ag land, but you brought up, Mr. Reyes, it sets a precedence, and that's what we do not want to do. So by you converting and changing this ag land, it sets a precedence within Yuma County. We do not want that domino effect to happen. So I just want to say that I hope you will take this into consideration. I don't think you're voting today, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak and hear our side of your decisions will impact future generations, not only just the next 5 years, but 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And so it's just very important to, the future food source of the world. So thank you.
Can I ask a question? Can you tell us what Gowan Milling does?
Gowan Milling makes products that help the grower to better feed the world in a more economical way. Gowan Milling services about 80% of their products are not even for Gowan Company. They are for like your BSF, your Corteva, your Syngenta, and those push out of Yuma County, out of the United States, globally to crops all around the world.
Okay.
Would you like me to define it?
Yeah, you can define it, yes.
So, Brandy, she did a great job. But Gowan Milling, over the course of a calendar year, will produce over 30 million pounds of product. Mm-hmm. That 30 million pounds of product is produced by 330 individuals that work out at the plant. That 30 million pounds of product is applied to over 300 million acres worldwide. So it's pesticides, fungicides, and then we also have a herbicide plant 1 mile to the north of the main site.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Shill.
Thank you for your time.
All right, Daniel Harden? Yep. Yeah. You write like a doctor, just like me.
I know your signature. I couldn't tell what your signature was.
Good afternoon.
I'm David. We should use a signature, but you write like that. So
I'm David Harden, General Manager of Yuko Gin. So just like Mike was saying, a natural buffer. So the gin, let me look at the map, is basically, this is a telephone line. Yes. That's the top right corner. Yes. Our property. Gosh, I mean, maybe 3/4 of a mile, half mile from that, from the rezoning area that you're wanting to go. It is farmable ground, as you can see. He had alfalfa in it, or onions, which is a great lucrative crop. I mean, you can make money on it. Our biggest thing, in the gin's perspective, is the domino effect that Mrs. Shill was speaking about. Back in the day, we had 60 some odd gins, 70 gins 25 years ago in the state of Arizona. Now we're down to 10. And the last couple that have closed down is because of encroachment of people and facilities. There's one in Buckeye right now that it's commercial buildings, that are choking them out. And then the one prior to that, it was residential housing. Right now, we all know about the water issue we have in the state. That's bringing more acres of cotton into the Yuma area to our gin, to the point that almost 50% of the stuff that I'm ginning now is from out of town as well. So it's really lucrative for our growers here that are partners within the gin. You have BASF, Corteva, Monsanto, all these guys that do their seed increases with us. But with the shortage of water allocation in the state, they're bringing more acres to Yuma. So now we're not even going to have to truck it because they're trying to get their acres here. So we could be potentially doing twice the business that we've ever done. But saying that, if this keeps going, you know, they're not going to have a gin to bring it to either. But any questions? Sorry.
Well, I think you made your point. I mean, is there any other questions? No. Thank you, Mr. Harden. Again,
Mr. Harden, how would it impact you? What goes on? No, the gin. What does the gin do that would be
Well,
negative?
so our biggest thing is, so, you know, a gin, so we're cleaning cotton, you know, produces dust. And that's the biggest thing. And you know, we're always in compliance. I get checked quite a bit, you know, and nowadays you can't fool the guy that's, you know, looking at you because it's all camera based. So I deal with ADEQ, and that's what it is. So I get calls all the time. They get a call. They have to come check me. Even at night, just our lights to run the facility 24 hours a day. You know, I had to change my lighting because it ruined their stargazing. You know, let alone the dust with the inversion layer with the mountains that are running, you know, north to south. It kind of just holds. That I get calls and they inspect me in April when we're doing nothing but turning a wrench in the gin, and it's other facilities that are, you know, out there that are causing it, but they think it's me. So the closer you get, the worse it's going to get. It's like those people that build out by the feedlot.
Yeah.
Don't like the dust and the smell, you know, all those things. And so it's, we're not the only one.
I know. I think the point has been made. You know, it's just
Mr.
getting
Chairman?
out. All right, hold on.
Wouldn't putting this into the storage and the blacktop reduce the amount of dust in the area? Would that contribute to the reduction?
For me, no. It wouldn't for me. I mean.
So it's too far away?
So
it's too far away, or it wouldn't? What do you mean? Well, just talking about the amount of dust that's been created, right?
Well, the dust from there, which there's none if there's a crop in it, right? I mean, unless you're doing your limited tillage work, which all our growers here do, right? Because they get kind of credits for that, we'll say. That has nothing to do with me in the sense of what we produce.
I think the points have been made, and the points that you guys all made is that this would initiate a process where a lot of changes would happen around you, and it would impact the way you operate.
That is correct.
Again, and going. And I think your points have been made, and I think that any one of the board members that's trying to, you know, keep going at it, it's going to make Mr. Dahl out there have a heart attack because he's not going to come up here and say anything on his behalf. So I appreciate you guys coming over. I think we'll have a hearing in the future whenever the applicant's ready to. Okay, thank you.
I want to say something real quick. Okay. I'm glad you pulled it. I want everybody to talk. I want planning and zoning to get involved. Figure out what we can do to make this work for everybody. Because, like I said, it's my district. I don't see a win situation either way. But
right.
I think there is something we can come up with, hopefully, that works for everybody.
I greatly appreciate that.
Kevin, I know it's a public hearing, and I know you postponed it. Would you like to say something before you go? Okay, then what we're going to do is I'm going to close the public hearing, because if not, we will never be able to get to the point. And
I think you raised your hand.
oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You raised your hand. Would you like to say something before I close?
I'd
No,
love
you
to
got to
speak
come up.
for a minute.
You got to come up and all right. And you got to give us your name.
So my name is John Daly with Daly Farms. I'm the consumer of his products, and then I use his services. And that is a natural buffer that they have. They've enjoyed it for 40 plus years. Any slight changes that we have right now are going to affect my chemical prices and my ginning prices and my ginning options. There hasn't been a cotton gin built in the state of Arizona in an extremely long amount of time. And so we're just trying to keep that. If we have to move any of these facilities due to encroachment, and I know it seems it was a major amendment back last year, now it's kind of being put forth as a minor amendment and then another change on top of that. We're just trying to stay ahead of this curve. And I would love, great that you guys definitely want to hear every side and question, but we're getting to the point where it's not going to just affect the gin, which affects me, or Gowan, which turns around and affects me again. It's everything around those. And there's a lot of heavy industrial in that area. And if we rezone certain parts, even if it's a minor one, that's going to affect down the line. So as you guys have seen, I mean, I'm new to this. I'm just a farmer. I was a tractor driver 5 years ago. So now, being an owner, I'm seeing it and seeing down the road. We're not playing checkers anymore. We're playing chess. And it might seem like a storage facility right now, but a storage facility, it would be better if it had a hotel right next to it. Well, then those hotel guests wake up in the morning, they see David's inversion layer, which might not be David in May, but they're going to call and complain. You know, that's why we don't see a lot of hotels out in Welton area. There's one out there. So if you would, I'd just like, you know, if you guys would take into consideration that, you know, there are old industrial that needs to be protected in the Yuma area. And that's why I hope you guys are all in opposition of these minor amendments due to the fact that, you know, it could change a lot of lives. So.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I am going to close the public hearing. And again, the motion will be to postpone to a date certain, to table it. Do you have a date? I don't know. Maggie, are we okay with that? Do we need to republish? Do we need to do anything? Because it seems to me.
Mr. Chairman, I believe that the applicant requested a continuance of this, of these, both of these cases to the May 16th meeting. So if the board continues them to that meeting, there is no need to repost or resend out radius letters.
All right. Is that okay with the board? If so, then I'll entertain a motion to postpone items number 1 and item number 2, public hearing amendment. That is the amendment, and the other one is the rezoning case 22-01 till May 16th. Is a continuance. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Oh, okay. We'll take it one at a time. There's been a motion and a second somewhere here to the right.
To the left over here and to me. Yeah.
That was Mr.
Darren
Simmons
and
and Mr. Pankratz.
Hey, you remembered my name.
Well, are you Ben Simmons? Okay, so there's been a motion and a second to postpone, to continue to the May 16th date for the next board meeting that discuss this case. Any discussion on the item? Thank you very much for coming over and let us know. No more discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Kevin, you got your work cut out.
Thank all of y'all for coming down.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna go to item, I think it's number 3, which is Verona State Subdivision Modification Subdivision Regulations. Adrian Vega of Dow Robinson Associates, representing Principal Engineering Group, request modification from the Yuma County Subdivision Regulations, Section 4.15B and Section 4.15D, and a modification from the Yuma County Public Works Standards, Section 7.2.5-3 for the proposed Verona State Subdivision, Assessors Parcel number 2212-02-034, zoning recreational vehicle park located in the southwest corner of Avenue 3E in County 16th Street, Yuma, Arizona. Do you have a PowerPoint presentation, Mr. Ruiz?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Juan de Alrugo, Senior Planner with the Planning and Zoning Division. The subject property is shown on the vicinity map on the slide. Currently zone RVP. As you can see here, surrounded by City of Yuma to the south, to the east, and 2-acre minimum lots to the north, to the west, and RA10 to the north also. The modifications being requested are modification from section 4.15B.
Vega, could you close the door? I don't think it comes, if you push it that far back, it won't come back. Just pull it. Is somebody holding it?
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's slow.
That's slow. It's just old.
So the first modification, Mr. Chairman, is a modification from section 4.15B, perimeter roads. It's requested by the developer to not improve Avenue 3E. The engineering department recommends approval of the request to not improve Avenue 3E since the developer will provide road improvements along 3E. And this shows the area that will be affected, which is Avenue 3E. Number 2 is modification from section 4.15D, residential collector type street, quarter mile. It is requested by the developer to not improve Avenue 2 and 3/4 E. The engineering department is recommending approval of this request since there are no road improvements nor road dedication along the alignment of Avenue 2 and 3/4 E, and as shown here, which will become part of the lots of the proposed subdivision. Modification number 3 is modification from the Yuma County Public Works Standards, section 7.2.5-3, arterial and collector streets. It is requested by the developer to access Avenue 3 per the exhibit shown, which does not comply with the requirement. The engineering department recommends approval of the request. The city of Yuma approved the egress to the subdivision.
You could have left that out and it would have been fine.
So the developer has been in conversation with the city of Yuma, and this is what is being proposed as far as access. And the last modification being requested is from section 4.15B, perimeter roads. It is requested by the developer to not improve County 16th Street. The engineering department recommends denial of this request, but the developer may construct following in lieu of the requirement. The development will increase the traffic along County 16th Street. Therefore, the developer shall chip seal the entire road section of County 16th Street. The developer shall provide a 10,000 chip seal contribution to Yuma County for future County 16th Street improvements in lieu of this requirement. So we are recommending denial. However, the county is okay with the developer providing a $10,000 chip seal and contribution to Yuma County for the future improvement of County 16th Street. This is the area being affected.
Right. So this is about streets and whether the developer is going to be required to make those improvements. So you guys are saying that $10,000 is going to be enough to chip seal that.
That is the determination of the county engineer.
Is there a connection to other chip seal areas in that area? I mean, this is not going to be in the middle of nowhere, is it?
No, County 16 is already improved, so this would be for additional
connection. It's just to reach it from another side.
So should I proceed with the recommendation, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Okay. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the following modifications. Modification from section Yuma County Subdivision Regulations 4.215B, perimeter roads to not improve Avenue 3E. Modification from section 4.15D, residential collectors type street to not improve Avenue 2 and 3/4 E. And modification from the Yuma County Public Works Standards, section 7.2.5-3 to access Avenue 3 per the exhibit shown. And denial of the following modification, which is the one that to not improve County 16th Street, but in lieu of this requirement, the developer shall provide a 10,000 chip seal contribution to Yuma County for future County 16th Street improvements.
Just a question. Who came up with the $10,000 chip seal cost? The engineering department?
I'll refer that question to our engineering department.
Is it a cost right now or is it a cost then?
Arturo Alvarez, Engineering Department. I believe those were conversations from with the county engineer and the consultant. That's for future road improvements along 16th Street. Currently 16th Street, it's paved, but at a later time when the county decides to chip seal that area, this will help.
Help or go cover?
Cover the cost of that area.
Hey, you guys came up with the amounts. I don't know. Okay, that's fine. That's the. Are we okay with that, legal? Okay. All right. So there's 3 modifications that are basically dealing with residential collectors, perimeter roads, arterial collector streets. Basically saying, okay, we're going to be okay with not recommending those improvements, but we're not going to be okay with not recommending the ones in County 16. We're going to say at least contribute $10,000 to general fund to be able to cover the chip seal, the future chip seal of County 16. And this is adjacent to the city. I see that the city is surrounded in basically 2 sides. So the city is okay with it. That's what you said, right?
Mr. Chairman,
the ingress.
The developer stated that there have been in conversation with the city of Yuma, and the city is okay with the access off of 3E.
So it was the statement that they made? You didn't get anything written in writing?
We do have something on file, I believe, from the city of Yuma, an email from the city that was provided to staff.
All right, any questions from the board? I mean, we have the presentation. I'm gonna open it to the public. I think we need to, this is a public hearing. I think we need to open it to the public, so I will open it to the public. Is there any public comments on this? If there's no public comments, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion from the board. What's the motion? Whose district is this on? Mine. I just don't want to make it. So, okay, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve the modifications as stated by the Planning and Zoning Commission, which would be approve the first three and deny the last one, unless an amount is posted, right? Because that's what that requires. It's not really a denial. It's more like if you want to approve it, this is what you're gonna have to do it. So it's a recommendation to approve based on requirements, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Because denial means to me you deny it. This means to me you approve it if they post $10,000. I just want to make that clear. Is that correct? That's correct. All right, well, that's what I'll make my motion be.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll move on. Good luck with the 2201 case. We'll see you. We are going to go to discussion regarding legislative issues. Is the I was on vacation. Is the legislature still in session? Oh my God. Oh.
They aren't going anywhere soon.
It's going to be a long time.
This is discussion and possible action regarding state and federal legislative updates. We may include international issues, status of bill impacting Yuma County, timelines and composition of the legislator, districting and legislative strategies and priorities. Mr. Figueroa.
Chairman, members of the board, Alejandro Figueroa, Economic Development and Intergovernmental Affairs Director. I'll be going through the legislative update for today. So the Arizona State Legislature has been in session for more than 80 days now. There have been close to 1,800 bills posted and around 120 bills passed out of which 106 have been signed.
Chairman?
Yes?
We're getting a tremendous feedback.
Yeah, we're getting feedback. Can you shut?
You gotta tell them to move on to someplace. Close it up.
We're getting feedback.
There we go.
Okay, thank you.
So the Arizona State Legislature has been in session for more than 80 days now. There have been close to 1,800 bills posted and around 100 bills passed, out of which 106 have been signed. Last week, the House and the Senate Appropriations Committee held their last regular meeting to discuss bills. The Senate had a packed schedule with 40 bills that stretched over 12 hours. In the coming weeks, floor activity is expected to increase as lawmakers look to get their bills through the process and budget negotiations push forward. Also, as the session has progressed, the State House of Representatives has begun holding informal conversations on the governor's $1 billion proposal to create an Arizona Water Authority to augment the state's water supplies. According to the CSA, HB 2675, which is right to a jury trial for state-initiated child protection cases, will not be moving forward this year. If it had been enacted, it would have brought considerable costs to Arizona counties. The Arizona Judicial Council was also opposing this bill. HB 2602, which would restrict the Board of Supervisors' authority to establish emergency voting locations, passed the Senate's Government and Rules Committees and has now gone through the Senate's majority and minority caucuses. It is now waiting to be placed in the consent calendar and being voted at the Senate floor. A couple of bills that the CSA is asking county supervisors to oppose is Senate Bill 1048 and House Bill 2316. SB 1048 would repeal a county board of supervisors chairman's ability to order the closure of a business after an emergency or local emergency declaration is being held in the House Military Affairs and Public Safety Committee. On the other hand, HB 2316, which is considered a one-size-fits-all approach to Arizona's 15 counties, mandating costly security technologies and staffing if counties would like to prohibit weapons in their buildings, is waiting for Committee of the Whole to review and vote.
On Wednesday, as you know, March 30th, 2022, Governor Ducey announced that he's terminating Arizona's COVID-19 declaration of emergency, which was first enacted on March 11, 2020. The governor said, and I quote, "Thanks to the hard work of many healthcare workers, businesses, public and private sector employees, COVID-19 is no longer an emergency in Arizona. This virus isn't completely gone, but because of the vaccine and other life-saving measures today, we're better positioned to manage and mitigate the virus." Just a quick update on HB 2541 and SB 1381, which relate to salary for deputy sheriff and detention officers. During the last few weeks, the CSA and the Arizona Sheriff's Association have been in constant communication to discuss the challenges being faced with the sheriffs with staffing and potential long-term and short-term solutions. The Sheriff's Association agreed not to advance the proposed statutory formula related to officer salaries. Instead, they will modify their legislative request to seek a one-time $52 million state funding to support recruitment and retention payments to sheriff deputies and detention officers. The CSA believes this to be a productive and mutually agreeable approach. So as you see on the slide, the $47.7 million will be for retention efforts. That would include a $10,000 retention bonuses for all deputy and detention officers. And the second item, it's a $4.3 million fund to do $5,000 in recruitment bonuses. So that's to attract new talent to the sheriffs across the state of Arizona. On the federal level, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced on April 1st is ending its the pandemic border rule known as Title 42 on May 23, 2022. The CDC determined that the public health order is no longer necessary after considering the wide range of mitigation measures and, for the most part, low community levels of COVID-19 nationwide. Title 42 kept asylum seekers in Mexico for fear they would bring COVID-19 with them if they were allowed to enter into the United States. Under Title 42, more than 1.7 million migrants and asylum seekers have been expelled. After May 23rd, U.S. Customs and Border Protection will resume processing all non-citizen unlawful crossing the border through its Title 8 statutory immigration authority. It is worth noting that both Senator Sinema and Kelly had urged President Joe Biden's administration not to end Title 42 without a plan to avoid the harm to border cities. They wrote in a letter to the president, and I quote, "To date, we have not yet seen evidence that the Department of Homeland Security has developed and implemented a sufficient plan to maintain a humane and orderly process in the event of an end to Title 42. Moving on.
Wait, Mr. Chair, can we write a letter from our board to that same, would you consider doing that?
I would second that.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion. Just write a letter and we'll send it.
Yes,
We'll
along
sign
with,
it all.
along the same lines as Cinema
Consider
and
the
Kelly's,
impact.
because of the impact to our community. Thank you. Thank you.
As you know, county staff scheduled and coordinated virtual meetings between you and the congressional offices of Congressman Gosar, Biggs, and Gallego earlier this year to share and discuss with them Yuma County's 2022 federal legislative priorities. In my role as Intergovernmental Affairs Director, I have met and shared the county's priorities with Senators Kelly and Sinema's staff. Now, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, would you be interested in having county staff coordinate and schedule additional virtual meetings with the rest of Arizona's congressional delegation to discuss the county's federal legislative priorities? Would that be a direction that you would give staff at this time, or?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I did.
Yes. Would you be interested in having county staff coordinate and schedule additional virtual meetings with the rest of Arizona's congressional delegation to discuss the county's? What's that?
How many do we have left?
We have six representatives we have not yet met with.
Okay, so I think the question begs, what do we want from them? I just want to be a little more specific. What happens is we have a long list of priorities and then we bring them all up when we go, but I think it's probably more based on 2 or 3 major items. I don't have any problem with scheduling more, I just want to know if it's going to require for all of us to be together or some of us to meet with them. Seems like Miss Pancrassi just likes to meet, so maybe we can schedule more.
Like to meet, what can I say?
What could you say? So, if you can schedule more, just find a time that, some of us can be there and then make sure that Desiree knows about it. So if it's going to be more than two of us, she can put them on a time schedule. But yes, I'd say so. And I'd say we need to focus on two or three things that have an impact in Yuma County that we can go, ask. I think they ask, all of them are pretty important to Yuma County. They're not that many because I just reviewed them last week. But so the answer is yes.
Mr. Chairman, we have 5 priorities right now approved by the board, and we can definitely summarize the talking points if that's what you would like me to do.
Yeah, go ahead and schedule them, and let's see how we do with that, because I think in a way that's the new way of doing things anyway. The key to me would be whether the actual congressman would actually meet with us, because we end up meeting with staff all the time, and a meeting between staff and elected officials is just as good as having a meeting between staff and staff. I mean, there's no really point of us talking to the staff about something they get their boss to do. So if you can schedule a meeting with the actual congressman, it'd be a lot better. If they tell you that you can only meet with the staff, then you let us know. Okay?
If they only meet with the staff, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay, but I mean, we need to get a meeting with the congress person.
Well, we'll definitely make an attempt.
Try.
Yes.
So for clarification, if they refer us or have only the staff available, would you like for just our staff to talk to their staff?
Well, I think that
or did
gives
you
us
want
a
their
choice,
staff?
right? If a board member so desires, fine, set it up for the board members. But I think that staff makes a lot of sense to staff, and listening to a board member may have some impact on staff because that's who they give you. They'll give you the liaison, to the public relations liaison to elected officials. So it's fine. Set up the meetings and we'll schedule it. We'll run a schedule around when you set them up. Okay.
So what we'll do is summarize the talking points. You already have the details, and then of the 5 items for each meeting, you can decide which ones you want to focus on with which legislators. That's going to be the best use of your
research will
time.
help. What do they belong to, which committees they belong to, whether it's appropriations, whether it's agriculture, whether it's military affairs. It may be that we can focus on what their congressman or the congressman is involved in, as opposed to just shooting, to everybody the same thing. Okay? Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is that okay? Yeah, okay. Seems to be okay.
Great. So on the international front, on March 30th, Governor Ducey gave his final international State of the State. The governor highlighted our state's international trade as exports from Arizona companies rose by $4.3 billion in 2021. Arizona exports reached $24.1 billion last year, nearly matching record levels set prior to the pandemic. On another note, and per the chairman's request, during my presentation before the board on March 21st, and in reference to the recent escalation of homicides in the neighboring municipality of San Luis, Colorado, I reached out to Mayor Santos Gonzalez's office to learn about some of the security efforts taken by his administration in the state of Sonora. His office shared with me that they created a security group made up of law enforcement members from all 3 levels of government in Mexico that meets on a daily basis to coordinate efforts to counter the recent escalation in criminal activity. The mayor's staff also shared that they feel fairly confident that the battle between criminal organizations had not and would not impact the municipality's economic activity and tourism sector. As you know, San Luis Rio Colorado was recently ranked as the 2nd municipality with the highest number of homicides in the state of Sonora, and the first one as far as the number of kidnappings for the first quarter of 2022.
Go ahead.
That would conclude my presentation today, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any comments? Any questions from? Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry about the distractions, but it was just stuff that was in the packet. Anything else? If not, then we'll go back. We'll go on to the next item, which is board reports. Members of the board. Lynn, you want to begin?
Yes. I attended the Arizona at Work Youth Committee meeting I attended a briefing with Senator Kelly. I attended the CSA Legislative Policy Committee meeting. I met with Rachel Stallsworth about a possible sewer improvement district. I had another meeting with Arizona at Work with adults, and I attended the YMPO meeting. And then I attended the CSA Legislative Policy Committee meeting the next Friday, and I went to the fair. It was very successful, and it was very nice to see so many people out and about again, and being involved with the 4-H and with the rides and with, you know, the buildings with the art and just all of it. It was wonderful. And I had my ham and sausage dinner. So, yeehaw.
All right. You have to follow that. Line, Supervisor Line.
Mr. Chairman, it's been a busy couple of weeks, to say the least. Participated in the International State of the State with Governor Ducey, and had multiple meetings with Amanda Aguirre in anticipation, along with the first responders from Somerton, San Luis, and Yuma.
Thank you.
Where they expressed concern about their ability to respond in a timely fashion to an increased number of people coming across the border because it overwhelms their 911 system. And they also, to Sheriff Wilmot's point, were seeking remuneration from federal government for the costs that they've had to eat. And then we had a follow-up meeting with them as well. I'll have the pleasure of hosting the ranking member, Jim Comer, next week here in Yuma, along with the Federal Oversight Committee. Appreciate Susan helping me to put that meeting into play. And probably 6 or 7 other conversations with constituents, as well as probably 90 texts regarding a lot that's on our agenda today and other days, things that are coming up, people advocating for private property rights, etc. And I'm sure I'll have more to report next time.
I'm sure I'm going to change the, procedure, who begins first, the way it's going right now.
I know,
competition, Mr. Simmons.
Attended election advisory board meeting, was also at the fair. Had a meeting with Will Mitchell with Strata Clean Energy, reference to the solar plant out in the East County. Had a Martinez Lake homeowners meeting, which was very long and very interesting. Attended an event for Ryland Crouch out in the foothills at Crazy Earls. The family was doing a fundraiser for a scholarship for law enforcement, which was very well attended and very well put on. I want to congratulate the family on the job they did. They raised enough funds to put somebody through the academy, as well as donations to Amberley's Place and the 100 Club. So good job.
Supervisor Borges.
I attended the GYDC meeting a couple weeks ago, and I also attended a meeting with Fort Frontage ED and met Representative David Figueroa from the state of Sonora that works here in Arizona. And we talked about, he supports the corridor, the safety corridor project between Yuma to all the way to Rocky Point. So.
I was on vacation. That's pretty fast. And the only thing that I have in front of me to talk about is probably the inclusion in the next agenda of an appointment of Lori Stoff, Yuma County, the library board. She wants to remain. We need to reappoint her. Her term ends on, I think, June 30th, but we need to reappoint her. So I wanted to make that so that it's officially on the agenda. I'll put it here. That's it for me. Susan?
Just a few things of note. We met with the community leaders of various, the county and the cities and other organizations, met with the APS's new CEO, Jeff
Goldner.
Yeah, I know which one.
Very personable, that whole team was big tour of Yuma County and looked at all the field operations that are there. And that was a great opportunity to get to know that individual and for him to know us. Also, Thank you. The YSIPTA Financial Sustainability Committee that I've been heading up, along with Gil Villegas, has met several times, and we're going to be meeting this afternoon, the YSIPTA board. So hopefully we'll have some resolutions on the issues that they're faced with right now. So I'll report to you later after the conclusion of that meeting. And that's all I am going to report in the interest of time.
Okay. In the interest of time, is there anything else that we'd like to discuss? If not, then this is the end of today's meeting. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for the patience, and I'll try to get it done before this, but that's the way things go. Thank you, Bill.